All right, welcome to day 3 of the Empire Week, and I'm joined by none other than Jack Allen. And I don't know if you're aware of this, Jack. You are still the #1 Empire player in the world. If you look at the rankings on Old World Rankings, not a sponsor, but a friend of the channel, you'll see that Jack is the highest scoring Empire player, despite also being, I think, the highest scoring Skaven player as well. So you've been busy, hard at work with 2 underrepresented factions.
Yeah, putting some GTs and putting some legwork to get there, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I wanted to get an expert here. Obviously, we're a couple of days past the mark, so we're not going to go with the first impressions. I wanted the breakdown of someone who knows Empire inside and out. So that's what we're going to be doing. But let's start off with, before the Arcane Journal came out, what were your feelings on Empire? How did you feel about them as a faction?
I think I agree with the general consensus with everyone. The grumbles, to be honest. There's a lot of glaring weaknesses, but I just zoned in on what I thought were the huge strengths in the book and built on that. So just focusing on the strengths, trying to. I think there's only if you want to talk about competitive, like I'm openly a very competitive player, not really playing that many games for fun nowadays, but like competitively working at GTs. And I think the only archetype for Empire is maybe a gun line previously.
Yes.
Which is exciting with
absolutely.
the new journal. I think if you want to battle on the top tables, it might have just been a gun line only situation with Empire. So now maybe, just maybe, there's some roots to some other ideas.
Yeah, I think there's genuinely some more fleshed out approaches you can take with Empire. But I agree, it's kind of the same as with Dark Elves. The things that are good are very, very good.
Yeah.
And then there's the rest of the book, and you just don't touch it. And you kind of look at it and go, is this worth taking? No, never mind. Let's go back. So Empire, I think, were a reasonably competitive army, but you had to play them very precisely, which is definitely one of your strengths. I used to enjoy watching you play. I think you sweated more playing Empire than you did Skaven. It was a lot of fun to just stand there and watch you losing your mind, because you're like, I've got to get this exactly right, otherwise you'd get charged by a dragon.
Just buffering.
Yeah, absolutely. An army that's hard to play on a time commitment. Yeah. So I think they were a pretty decently competitive army, but they were very one note, and you could only play gun lines, and that is a fairly dull way to play, in my personal opinion. Yeah. So we've gone from that, and now we've got a couple of Arcane Journal Army of Infamies, but we've also got a load of rules that you can just use in a grand army. How are you feeling about the army overall now we've got some new rules?
I'm excited, mate. I enjoyed. I just sat there with my cup of coffee, read through the whole book.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it all. I loved it. There's more. It's more. The Nightly Orders is a lot more fleshed out than I expected it to be. There's more content in it. Right.
It almost feels like 5 Arcane armies of Infamy in one, which is great.
They've just been like, they've got all 5 orders in, which I'm sure is a surprise. But yeah, it seems awesome to me. Like. I'm excited, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. So with that said, I guess now's a great time just to go straight into it. Let's have a look.
Hell yeah.
So if we start off, we'll just go through page by page. We're going to start off with the first of the detachments that you can take, which is the city-state of Nuln. And tell you what, before we get into it, because there has been some grumbling on the internet. In fact, there's been a lot of grumbling on the internet, which I disagree with wholeheartedly. I think Empire in a way more interesting spot and a way better spot than they were put before, and I think there probably is going to be some play with the Arcane Journals, but we'll have to see how the armies of infamy flesh out. The one big problem is that stock, and there are ways around this, but stock, both armies of infamy don't allow you to take level 4 wizards. That is a problem. We should probably talk about that. How do you feel? Do you think you can get away without a level 4?
That's the elephant in the room, isn't it, with the new armies? When I first saw this, I was disappointed with that. Yeah. But then when I've kind of played around with some like first lists, I was thinking, if you could take a wizard lord in this, even 0 to 1, it would be completely cooked. Like I genuinely think that it would be a problem.
Yeah.
So I maybe the who knows, maybe the playtesters kind of agreed. And I'm not like fully certain on the lore with Nuln, whether they're like the anti-wizard guys.
So I believe at this point, this is before the colleges of magic have been established. So it is in the Empire very much, burn the witch, burn the heretic, as
But
opposed
they've
to...
snuck in the master mages.
Yeah, I guess you can have some level of casting. Maybe it's just that they're harder to find the good casters.
So that's what made me think maybe it was a game balance thing, because the few lists that I've had scrambled together seem, even without the wizard, they seem like a very big problem for a lot of armies to deal with. But
yeah,
we'll see what you think. I'm excited to see what your builds are for this.
So just to sort of approach that, I think there's very few army types that can deal without having wizards. However, there were two that can, and that's kind of the two ways the Arcane Journals go. So you go full stat check gunline, where having magic missiles is nice, but you can get away with just having more guns. Yeah. That's something you can do. And then at the other end, full stat check, full send, full violence, kind of like Bretonnians. A lot of Bretonnian exile players aren't playing any casters. Some Grand Army exile Bretonnian players aren't playing casters as well.
Errantry list wasn't there as well,
yeah. So you can play a very aggressive full cavalry in your face list where you've got lots of threats. It's harder to shut you down with like a single caster that has Miasmic Mirage and Column of Crystal, because you might have 4 things that want to charge in one turn. So that sort of full pressure style as well can get around not having the caster.
Target saturation,
yeah. But then, there are some ways around it, which we'll get into as we get into the second Arcane Journal. So let's have a look at Nuln then. And this is the guns list. And I think everyone's fear when they hear there's going to be a guns list is just, oh god, it's going to make the boring list better. And I think they've done a really good job with the Expeditionary Force for Dwarves and for this in not doing that and making things that are less good better, and not particularly buffing the things that were good already. So I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think if the Wizard Lord was in this list, it would be oppressive. I think so. I think it's like fair. I don't know whether it's fair. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I think cutting the Wizard Lord. So I couldn't agree more, mate. I think
definitely need some testing. I think my perspective is I'm cautiously optimistic for the lack of wizards. That's how I'm approaching it. So top to bottom, characters wise, you start off with a single general or lector of Sigmar per 1,000 points. That's fine. You probably won't want 3 in total. Captains, Master Mages, Witch Hunters, Priests of Sigmar, and Empire Engineers you can have uncapped, and then a 0-1 War Altar of Sigmar as a mount for Elector of Sigmar, which is just exactly the same as if you were playing in Grand Army. You still capped at one of those. Anything particularly spicy in there other than the aforementioned lack of level 4s?
Obviously, they've cut again, it must be a law thing. They've cut the Ulrich. Because there's a lot of people. There's some murmurings with the Outriders.
Yeah,
there's a naughty combo with a multiple win. So again, it's like, they've cut that like wombo combo out.
Yeah,
maybe for law reasons, maybe because it's just absolutely bonkers.
We're gonna have some furious comments down below. Do let us know why. I'm fairly certain Nuln is not particularly aligned with the Wolf Priests, which is why it's not in here. But neither of us are massive law guys. No. we are going to have to admit we're more here for telling you about the rules.
That's fair, but that's the thing that stuck out to me. I mean, it looks quite generic, but no, obviously Wizard Lord, no Ulrich guys in there for
missing the wizards and missing the 2 damage Outriders. That's basically yeah. I think that's
that was it.
Yeah. Down a core, 1+ regiment of Nuln state troops or veteran state troops, 0-1 units of Outriders per 1,000 points. So that means you can take 2 of them, and you probably will. And then you can take 3 country militia and Empire archers, who militia are terrible and archers are amazing. So I'm pretty okay with that.
I think we both had our fair share of core attacks, though, right?
Yeah, so that's true. Both being Skaven players. I don't know. We'll get onto it next page. I'm interested to see how the state troops play out. Worst case scenario, you just go, I've got to take this. I can use it as roadblocks, and that's kind of whatever. But maybe there is something in there. Obviously, Empire's only army special rule for the Grand Army is that they have detachments, which other armies also have. So this does soup them up a little bit. Onto special. You see, I think, all of the things that you'd like to see, which is great swords, pistoliers, Outriders, which are good, Empire Knights and War Wagons, 0 to 3 War Machines per 1,000 points, which means basically as many as you want, Cannons and Mortars. And then into rare, you've got the 0 to 2 War Machines per 1,000 points. So you've got Hellstorm Rocket Batteries, Volley Guns, and then 0 to 1 Steam Tank per 1,000 points. But again, it's still 265 points. So you can't bring 2 at 2,000 points, which is a crying shame. I do want to see a pair of those on the battlefield.
I kind of, maybe they would have had to have reduced the points though, right?
Yeah, get it to 250.
I thought maybe they'll do that, but yeah, they've gone ham on the War Wagons, haven't they?
I was wondering if they were going to move the Steam Tank to special, so you could take a second one in, but maybe not. Maybe that would be.
They put no restriction War Wagons. That is that is spicy. Like, really,
I like the War Wagon.
Special.
Yeah. I like it more as a mount, but I still like it as the special. So War Machines. Am I right in thinking that you can only get 0 to 1 Hellblaster Volley Gun per 1,000 points in the Grand Army? So you could take more. Yeah,
you can have 4. Yeah, or 3 on our normal comp, but 4.
So that's really good. But unless shout out to Edmittance, whose artillery dice are cursed, genuinely cursed.
Forehead,
I don't think I've ever seen him kill anyone else's models with the headbusters. But no, this is solid. You've got I'm struggling to see anything in there that's missing that I care about. You can't take flagellants. Oh no.
I personally think Empire Road Wardens are fantastic. I think they're amazing.
I'm really looking forward to talking about them because I looked at them and I think I'm missing something. So I'm really interested to hear what you have to say on them. We'll get to that one later on in the list. But there's also, you can take a BSB as a captain or an engineer. That's really nice for a gun line, being able to take your engineer BSB. Also, if you take it on a war wagon, it becomes a large target, which means that you've got an 18-inch bubble of BSB. That's really nice. Do Empire struggle with leadership tests sort of in general?
Absolutely, they've got rotten leadership across the board. So that's an interesting for like an archetype for like a more war wagon, like wagon wheels, like combat, Mad Max kind of Empire army. If you're gonna run you get that 18-inch bubble, that could be serious business. But yeah, generally in my Grand Army list, I run just a haggard captain. Just to make my wizard bunker immune to panic, because it is a gross problem otherwise. But yeah, so that's like there's some load of list building in that. I think that's one of the main things.
The first thing to talk about, obviously, you can put a BSB on a war wagon and give it a war banner. That's just a straight static 3 combat res, which is aggressively fine when you also combat with. We'll get to the war wagon down the line, but I really like. A combat res chariot BSB. I've been running them in a couple of armies, and this feels like another good version of that. And also, normally I'm kind of whatever about them, but in this army, mercenaries are pretty legit. So you can take Imperial ogres, Imperial dwarves, and Doomseekers, 0 to 2 per 1,000 points. I think there might be some stuff in there that you might want to take. Looking at you, Doomseekers, I think that goes very nicely with Empire, because people were running them already, but now you get rid of the downsides if you're in Nuln.
Yeah, I've not been able to squeeze them in any list yet, but I'm happy and I'm open if you've got any ideas, because that was the first thing when I was like, oh, they could help the gun line, like not give away the points, protect it, but I can't fit them in yet.
Well, you're saving points on wizards, so
yeah. We want more guns. Yeah, I know. Well, maybe that's the counterpunch, because that was the thing that I found with my Empire list as it developed.
Yeah,
it's you can't just have everyone with a gun. That's not going to work, because they fold to like full send armies. You need some kind of counterpunch.
Most armies can be fully in your lines turn 2, basically.
That was it.
What it comes down to.
So I found the win condition was denying turn 2 charges. So basically, the first idea is shoot everything before they charge, and that's not going to happen. You're not going to get rid of the whole army. So the threat of the counterpunch is what keeps people honest, as well as the illusion magic. But yeah, the Doomseekers they're fighting for that role as the counter punchers. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I know previously you've used a captain on a Griffin. or a general on a griffin, I should
Oh,
say.
that's my
Imperial griffin.
favorite. That's my favorite piece in the
It's a
army.
really solid unit, yeah. But yeah, maybe you just go cheap and you squeeze some more other stuff into characters and Doomseekers. But we got a lot of list building potential over the next few months, so we got plenty of time to dig through that one.
So much, yeah.
Yeah. So a fairly decent setup there, apart from the lack of wizards, and you get a good chunk of rules. So first of all, big guns know no fear. Engineers gain immune to psychology while there is a friendly war machine within their command range, and it's also units they've joined. So you said that you were taking a captain to give ignores panic. Why not just take an Empire engineer with a BSB for rerolls and give that unit immune to psychology? They can't run away, which is an actual downside, but.
For the gun line, this is like a dicey rule, but for the war wagon BSB, like hell yeah, why not?
Yeah. But then you can also just make sure you're positioned outside of range of cannons if you need to, or make sure you're out of units so you're not risking it. I like it as a rule. It's relatively flexible. Entrench position. During deployment, entrench a single non-character model whose type is war machine for each engineer you have. So basically 3 of your cannons get to be entrenched. Good stuff there. It gives them partial cover and they are counted as defending a low linear obstacle, but if they move at all, including vanguards, they are no longer entrenched.
Yeah.
Cool.
Similar to the Dowie, the engineers, they give that also. But for us, like maybe less. Yeah, I mean, we'll take it.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, there's enough rules on the page that I don't feel like you lost out because this one's on there.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'll have it. It's a freebie. It's actively good.
Yeah.
Gun limbers. You can take 0 to 1 war machines per 1,000 points from the following list, and you give them Vanguard and Veterans. And it's cannons and mortars for 5 points, rocket batteries for 10, or volley guns for 15. And there's a pretty obvious place to put these. Where do you want to put this rule?
Well, I'm going to go with a bit of a left field evaluation of this, and I'm going to say that this isn't going to be in my lists. Because I'm a shameful backtabler. So my opinion on artillery is, obviously we're trying to, the win condition being, I've saw a lot of hype about these, people excited with it's obviously the Hell Blaster, movement to range turn 1, right, and just blast away. I think the counterplays, talking from a competitive view against a lot of good players that we play in our meta, I think they just deploy 28 inches away from them generally. So I'm not super excited about that. I'm more, the win condition for me is putting them right on the back table and not letting a movement 7 thing charge them turn 2.
Yeah, that's super fair.
So that's just so cool, that putting the Vanguard on your artillery, like, right, let's have you. And maybe there's a build where, an aggressive build where I'm not sure, like, and for like fun narrative, like games with your mates, like, awesome, just go fill your boots, right?
Yeah.
But from maybe an unpopular opinion, for me, I'm not picking this in my list, but I'm excited to see what you think about it.
So for me, I think the place that this fits, and this ties in with, it's not a confirmed rumor, but I have heard that scouts are going to count officially towards the +1 for going first. As of, early into next year. I like a gun line with the flexibility to go first or second by taking loads of scouts. That might go away. So you might be potentially going second more often, although there's a character that can help with that. We'll get to him as well.
Oh yeah.
But if you're in a position where you're going, I'm going to have more drops than my opponent, but I still want to threaten them, you can say, okay, you don't get to go within 4 inches of the deployment line anywhere, because I have paid 30 points for these 2 Hellblasters, and I can put them down Vanguard forwards, and if you go first, it sucks to be you. I'm going to, just pick up something meaningful. Whether that ends up being worth the points, I don't know, but that's sort of like the obvious, like if you're playing against someone who also understands how much damage they do and is going to respect that, that's the niche I see for them. But,
do you mean like with, for example, your Dark Riders, you're trying to threaten them, you're trying to board control, or is that what you
yes, so you put them down after everything else, which means that your opponent has to go, okay, I have to deploy 4 inches back from my deployment line, like across the entire thing, which sort of stymies their deployment.
So you're keeping the guns in reserve to put up. Okay. I
mean, you know where they're going as soon as you look at the board, but your opponent theoretically doesn't, so it gives you a bit of flexibility
Yeah,
there.
fair.
But that's one that's I can see your argument for not wasting the points on. So something I'm looking forward to getting some games in and finding out more.
Mm-hmm.
Handgun drill. Once per game, each detachment of state missile troops in the city-state can fire with 1 additional rank. Yeah, you on board with that?
I mean, it's just a rule, and you can't. They've got to fill the page with something. I think
that's how I feel about it as well.
It's cool. I heard like just make it like every turn.
Yeah,
Would it be aggressive? Like, would it be like, oh no, the game's ruined? Like,
handguns do not particularly scare me, but what this basically means is you get to full shoot with 2 ranks with detachments when you're standing and shooting when the parent unit gets charged. I don't know if that makes a difference. I haven't been super wowed by detachments.
Yeah,
but maybe there's some way that you can make that work.
I mean, we always like, honestly, me and you would always talk about Warhammer from a competitive standpoint.
Sure.
So, have you got a big unit of state troops? I'm not sure if you have got one. If you have, fantastic.
There's been talk for months about ways that infantry might get buffed. So I'm always keeping an eye to the future where maybe we're in a world where you actually want to take big blocks of infantry.
Okay.
So right now it's one of those where this has the potential to be quite interesting. I think right now it makes a mediocre unit better, and I'm okay with that. But it's not something that I'm going to take this in my list that's just cannons and all that.
Fair.
So speaking of detachments, you've got the Nuln state troops. Basically, the way that it works is it counts as you take a unit of state troops and then 1 to 2 units of missile troops and or swordsmen. So it just means that you have to take a detachment, well, at least 1 detachment, maybe 2 detachments with your mandatory unit of Nuln state troops.
Yep.
Other than that, the basic state troops have halberds, the missile troops have handguns, the swordsmen have hand weapon and shields, and you get a free unit champion. That's fine. Yeah.
Could be worse.
Yeah. This is fine. This is flavorful.
It's a bit fluffy. Yeah, I was going to say, like, I love this. I love that stuff. Yeah. Like, if you're gonna make the Army of Infamy, you've got to try and put some fluff in there, I think. So yeah, why not?
Yeah. And you were saying as well that you can't go full guns. I don't hate having a cheap unit to just throw away and then go, well, I had to take a detachment of handguns. Here's just a unit of handguns that I might have put in my core anyway because, they're cheap and they shoot pretty reasonably.
Yeah, I think so that's my first list just had a basic, like the cheapest you can, but it's still got utility, like you said. So yeah, why not?
Yeah. I quite like those really cheap units because is it 10 models minimum for state troops?
10.
Yeah. So then you have 5 models for the detachment, which means you've got a 5 model unit that you can just use as a redirector.
Yeah.
That's aggressively fine.
Yeah.
Don't hate it. And then finally, we've got veteran outriders. Missile weapons wielded by outriders included in this list are not subject to ponderous. Unlike dwarves, who don't get any move and shoot penalties, you just don't get ponderous, which is a bit of a shame because you're already taking the multi-shot penalty.
I mean, I am excited about this rule.
Oh, it's good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm just a little bit bitter that it's not quite full move and shoot.
Yeah. Oh, fair. I mean, again, we like my first build is like, wow, outriders, let's go.
Yeah.
But this is so nice, just because they become like you've used them. You've dabbled with them.
We've played a game on the channel with where I used 3 units of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they were going toe to toe with the gutter runners, and I've used them a lot, and I love them. I was saying, like, if they were in core in Grand Army, Empire would be cooked. But I mean, I'm really excited about this. Because the hardest thing is to keep them alive and also keep the damage output going. So this contributes to that. So yeah, I'm excited about this rule.
Yeah, I like them. Even if you're only hitting on 6s, a minimum unit of 5 models, that's still 3 hits, 2.5 hits, something like that.
Yeah,
you'll take it for running away from a problem and still putting out some incidental firepower.
Oh yeah,
I like that. So Nuln, interesting. I think the rules are fine, but it's more about what you put in the list that really makes it tick.
Yep. The sum of all its parts. Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at the nightly orders because I kind of feel like that's the other way around. This is one that really hits you in the face with the power of the list. So, nightly order. Composition list. Again, we've already talked about the fact there's no wizards. is what it is. There are ways around it. We'll get to those.
Mm.
You can have 0 to 1 Grandmaster. You have to have at least 1 Chapter Master, which is fine, because as Empire characters go, they're moderately good in combat for the points. 0 to 1 Lector of Sigmar or High Priest of Ulrich, which is nice because you can go either way, and that's per 1,000 points. Then you've got the Witch Hunters, low-level Priests, and you've also got 0 to 1 War Altar of Sigmar as a mount for a Lector of Sigmar. How do you feel about this in the core slot?
Immediately, I just enjoyed that as an Empire. Like, I just like that. Yeah. I like it. Like 0 to 1 Grandmaster, 1 plus Chapter Master. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
it's just fun, isn't it? Like, if you're gonna have some fun, like this is these writing this list. I enjoyed doing it.
Yes, yeah.
It was fun.
You can't take captains and generals. What a shame.
Yeah, we don't.
I don't feel like I'm missing out.
We don't want that. We want to just we're looking to get a bigger. I mean, I'm gonna be biased here. We're looking to get the biggest hammer we can find and just go straight forward.
If anyone's watched the video that I put out on Tuesday, you will know that I'm a big fan of the White Wolf hammer. But we can talk about that one down the line. Core 0 to 1 unit of Inner Circle Knights as core. Oh,
let's go!
So good.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, like you look at them and you're like, these are really good. Why is no one playing them? Oh, because they're in special, and special is where the cannons go. So there's no real space for them. But in this list, there's absolutely space for them. Love that. 1+ unit of Empire Knights per 1,000 points. Sure. It's a cavalry army. I'm probably going to take them. Also Empire Archers.
Yep.
I don't really know why, but I'm not complaining.
Utility. Amazing. Utility. Yeah, thank you.
They're just a really solid unit. Special, Inner Circle Knights and Demigryphs. Couldn't forget the Demigryphs. Huge fan of those. 0 to 1 unit of state troops or missile troops per 1,000 points. Sure. Yeah. Not if you're writing competitive lists, but if you want to write lists with them in, you can do.
Like for an aesthetic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Rare Pistoliers.
Again,
they could have included the better Pistoliers.
I mean, that's a law one, isn't it? Because you start off as I believe you start off as a Pistolier, like the nobles' sons. You start off as a Pistolier, then you get promoted.
Work your way up,
so I think that's just fluff, isn't it? I'm guessing.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know if Outriders would have made sense from a fluff perspective as well. I'd quite like to have seen Outriders here, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah. I am probably just going to take as much melee violence as possible and turn one, march it towards your face.
Yeah, boy.
Battle Standard Bearer, you can take a Chapter Master as a BSB. Love that. The Chapter Master is a way more competent model than the Captain, so that's good. And you can take obviously a Magic Banner as well. Yep. So any thoughts on this before we move on to the rules?
Yeah, it's exciting. I've probably written about 50 lists, like combat lists for Empire, because it does, like you said at the start of the video, it can become dull playing the gunline archetype sometimes. So it's like, I've got these models, I've bought a load of models, probably not competitive, but it just never gets competitive. But when I actually read through the rules, like kind of before I focused on this. So I was like, we've got some play here, like with a combat Empire list. Finally, there's going to be some testing, which is exciting. So before I didn't even feel like it was worth it. Yeah. So excited, man.
Fantastic. All right. So rules. What do we got? Well, first of all, let's tell you about the knightly orders. The way that it works is you have to pick your one specific knightly order, and all of your units have to be in that knightly order. And when I say all of your units, just the ones that can be specifically upgraded there, but we'll get to that one on the next page. So you pick one of the knightly orders. Every other Chapter Master and every unit of Empire Knights, Inner Circle Knights, or Demigryph Knights must belong to the same knightly order as your general. And then there's potentially some additional rules depending on which you pick. So that's all good stuff. Starting off with Knights Panther, you additionally get to take 0 to 1 unit of Empire Knights or Inner Circle Knights as mercenaries, and they are Order of the White Wolf, they are the punchiest of all the detachments. So I'm a huge fan of that. That's really nice. It says they are not subject to misbehaving mercenaries, which is amazing.
Good. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. Knights of the White Wolf, you can take the Tatuchian Guard as special, and also Free Company Militia as core, 0 to 1 unit of those. I'm less interested. And you can't take the Sigmar Priests, which is fine, because you really want to be juicing up with the Ulrich priests for the White Wolves there. So that's not a problem. So that's good stuff. The Knights of the Blazing Sun, 0 to 2 Master Mages as character choices, and 0 to 1 Great Cannon or Mortar as special choices per 1,000 points. And you can't take Lectors of Sigmar or High Priest of Ulrich, which makes sense because we've got the whole religion versus magic dynamic there. So it's only level 2 casters, but you can also take cannons. So you're kind of playing... The way I look at this is your Exiles Bretonia, but without Pegasus Knights. So you've got good cannons. You can only take 2 of them. You can take a lower level caster, which is still kind of fine. It's not as good as level 3, but it gives you some flexibility there. Then you've got the Knights of Morr, which I think is a real sleeper because you can take level 4 casters. That's just good. Yeah. You lose the ability to take priests again, but, that's fine. And then finally, we've got the Knights of the Fiery Heart, which is you can take Flagellants as rare. If you're struggling to deal with dragons in your local meta, don't forget that you too can take Flagellants and watch as you lose. But then you can't take any Priests of Ulrich. Off the army composition, is there anything there that really jumps out to you?
Yeah, I think I was straight on the Knights of Morr. The first read through, I was like, Wizard Lord, because we're looking for a force multiplier, right? We're looking for a buff piece.
Yeah.
So all my old lists were kind of, we'll move on now. You're probably on the same thing with the Knights of the White Wolf. We don't actually need a wizard, but generally, same with the Chaos Night Busters. We were looking for a wizard to buff the steel for some faith and steel. If we've not got no faith, we're looking for some like demonology or something like that to buff them.
Demonology and dark magic are very good.
You're looking at that, so that popped out at me first. But yeah, other than that, just some fluffs. Five. I wasn't expecting 5 Knight of the Order, so cool.
Neither was I, so big fan of that. So how does this actually work? Well, sorry for the blurry picture, but the way that it works is you choose which you take, or if you're playing Grand Army, you can take 0 to 1 Grandmaster or Chapter Master, and 0 to 1 Empire Knights, Inner Circle Knights, or Demigryph Knights. You can pay to upgrade them. So you can play Grand Army, and then you can have a unit and a character, which have the, Order of the White Wolf or Knight Panther, or whichever one you want to go for. So that's really solid there. The way that it works as well is that you have to pay, but that's fine. The rules are solid. They're worth paying for. So Knights Panther, if you're going for your characters, it's 10 points for Knights Panther, 15 for the White Wolf, 10 for the Blazing Sun, 15 for the Fiery Heart, 15 for the Knights of Morr. And then per model, over on the Knights, Inner Circle Knights, and Demigryphs, you've got 2 points for the Knights Panther, Blazing Sun, and then you've got 3 points for the White Wolf, Knights of Morr, and Fiery Heart, which doesn't actually add up all that quickly, realistically, because all of the things you're putting it on are either quite cheap, or in the case of Demigryph Knights, you're probably only taking 3 or 4 of them. So you're like, oh no, I've added 12 points to my unit that was already 200 and something points. It's not the end of the world. And they do unlock a good host of buffs, which are tailored to each specific one. So starting off with the Order of the Knights Panther, all models belonging to the Order of the Knights Panther must have lancers, which is fine, because lancers are generally what you want to have your cavalry with. Yep. On your charge roll, you get to reroll a single natural 1 before you discard any dice. So that's before you roll your Swift Stride. That means you're never losing here. You're just like, I rolled a 1 and a 5. Let's see if I can get that 6. That's good. You gain Hatred, Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen, Brayherds, and Demonic. That's a pretty good set of hatreds to have. Warriors of Chaos, the most popular army in the game at the moment, the most played. Beastmen, they're due an army book very soon in the next 6 months. And then Demons. Maybe you've got a local demon player you just want to make cry. But it's a good spread there. And then also, all of the orders have a second rule that only applies to the characters. So if you've got, characters and Inner Circle Knights. So if you have a Grandmaster, Chapter Master, or Inner Circle Knights that are Knights Panther, you gain Magic Resist 1.
Fine.
Yeah, this is just like a nice consistency. Everything's a little bit better at charging. Everything's a little bit harder to kill with spells. Great. It's all right.
Can I just say how good is this? It feels like we're chaos. It feels like marks of chaos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ironically, given the hatred of chaos.
But I mean, the book, how it's structured, it's like
100%.
It's like having a mark of the Night Wolf. That's the way I see it in my mind. It's like customization.
Yeah.
Which is just awesome. But yeah,
I love it. It's like an extra level of granularity that Empire players were really lacking beforehand.
Hell
So
yeah.
I'm a huge fan. So on to my personal favorite, the Order of the White Wolf. You have to be equipped with either a great weapon or halberd, but you can swap that for a wolf hammer, which we should probably. I'll go across and show that in a second. You've also you gain Furious Charge, so you get a better melee weapon, and you get an additional attack on the charge as long as you charge 3 inches or more.
Yeah.
In addition, the Inner Circle Knights and also the characters gain a 5-up ward against flaming attacks. I actually really like that, specifically for the Inner Circle Knights, because if I've got characters, I'm either bunkered in a unit or I'm going to give them a ward save anyway.
Mm-hmm.
These things, you know what's that really scares T3 models with a 2-up save? Pillar of Fire. Yeah. So you're just like, oh, cool, sweet. Mm-hmm. I've got a 5-up ward against it. Just gives me a little bit more reliability. Also, if someone hits you with a fireball, makes you take loads of saves because they're wounding on 3s. You're like, oh no, I rolled a 1. That sucks. I lose a model. There's another chance to save it. So just nice to have. Yeah. And it's effectively free. So if I just quickly jump across onto the Tutuchin Guard page, you can see the Wolf Hammer. So the weapon that you can get is, on the charge, it's effectively a great hammer. It doesn't have armor bane. It's strength +2 if you charge 3 inches or more. AP -2, requires 2 hands. But it strikes at initiative, which is really nice.
It's crazy. That's huge.
Yeah. And then in subsequent turns, or if you didn't charge, whatever reason, you only charge 2 inches, you get strength +1, AP -2, requires 2 hands. So in my mind, it's somewhere between like a flail and a halberd. I'm not really sure how best to describe it, but if you're charging, you're getting strength 6 attacks with the Inner Circle Knights and the Demogryphs and the characters, so that's great. But then on subsequent turns, you're still making strength 5 AP2 attacks, which is really solid.
You turn into a Demogryph.
Yeah. Oh no.
Totally fine. Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, what a problem to have. And as we said before, this is comboed with the Furious Charge that you get if you're Order of the White Wolf. And I think this really turbocharges Inner Circle Knights because it gets them up to 2 attacks each, strength 6, AP2. You might want to combo it with, let's say, a wizard if you're playing them in Grand Army, so you can give them either Demonic Vigor or you can hit them with that Battle Lust for Hatred and Frenzy.
Yeah.
Really good buffs. Or you give them... Yeah. The Priest of Ulrich is the other way around, which gives them damage 2 slaps, which is just frankly ludicrous.
There's going to be there's 2 in there. There's 2 in the boss. There's 2. You get Mark and Nurgle as well. You got like I mean, it's gonna get crazy. There's gonna be some multiplying this. This is just something to multiply as well, and also it's the biggest thing about knights. If you use the lance, obviously round 2 you kind of just dust. Yeah, but this is just like right. We've got play still, but
I really like it because it gives you the ability to grind through combats, and that's something more that I'm thinking in terms of like Inner Circle Knights, because they're still relatively tanky even without their shield, because this is a 2-handed weapon, so you've only got a 3-up save in combat. Or the Demogryph Knights, because they've got enough wounds to really just survive through, also a 3-up save there. I think it turns those units into real killing powerhouses, especially when you layer some additional buffs on top of it. So big fan of that. But I've gushed enough already. I did an entire video on it, so if you want to find out more about how I feel about it, check out day one's video for the Empire week. And let's move on to Order of the Blazing Sun. All of your models gain evasive and flaming attacks. No thank you.
Yeah, I saw that and I immediately trying to think, how can I build a list? Like, how is that a win condition? It's just putting you further away from the models.
If you had loads of shooting models, like shooting cavalry that could take the knight and didn't have evasive already, I'd be like, okay.
Javelins instead of lancers.
Yeah, but this is an odd one for me. I don't think that adds a lot of strength to it. What it does give you, and this is quite nice, is it gives you your characters and your Inner Circle Knights get +1 combat res, which isn't cumulative. So if you have 2 characters and Inner Circle Knights, you're not getting an additional +3, which is probably for the best. But
you could stack that to hell. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't hate it. Knights of Morr, they gain hatred 6-up. Hatred against undead models, and they get a 6-up ward against any non-magical enemy attacks. I like this. This is, undead are very good at the moment. There's a lot of undead armies. You can't tech into just being like, oh, this is a buff for every game. But then a 6-up ward just across the board is really nice. It would be better if you had it against magical attacks as well, but I don't hate it. And then you get the Inner Circle Knights, and the characters gain fear and magical attacks. Now, magical attacks are really nice because if you come up against Ethereal, it'll ruin your day unless you have something that'll ruin their day.
Yeah.
And then fear is just nice to have.
Situational, isn't it? But yeah, there's just so many different like ideas, builds. It depends on what you have to counter, doesn't it? But yeah, you've got the fear, then you've got the multiplier with the banner. We'll see later, but yeah.
Fine. So I will get into it more when we get to the magic items, but there is a reason that you might want to take a necromancy wizard if you're playing Knights of War, because Knights of War can have the level 4 casters, and you get fear on a unit. Normally, fear is only really there to stop your opponent's fear from causing you problems. But if you're taking a necromancy caster and you're debuffing their leadership already, I don't hate it at all.
It protects you from terror as well, right? Because then you only fear them. So that's really nice for Empire. But why not?
All right, and then finally we've got the Order of the Fiery Heart. So the models belonging to the Order can only be joined by Grandmasters as Chapter Masters belonging to the Order of the Fiery Heart, which is I'm not really sure why that's written in there. They gain hatred, enemy wizards, and orcs and goblins. People love casters. Orcs and goblins pretty well represented, and have +1 initiative during the first round of combat. That's what I like. Especially because you're going to be taking units with countercharge. Getting up to initiative 7, you're probably going to be striking either first or at the same time as your opponent. That's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big break point against the Knights of the Realm, isn't it? So they're usually what the biggest like enemy across the field. What I found with my Knights.
Sure.
If you can get that pip of initiatives, like monstrous. But yeah, why not?
Or when people are playing loads of Knightly Realm, Knightly Order armies, and you're like, oh, my opponent's got White Wolf, Order of the White Wolf. He's gonna double my output. God, wait, what if I just killed his entire front rank before he got to swing? That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, you could just be a menace to the other Knightly Orders.
Yeah. Okay, and then you also get characters and Inner Circle Knights get to reroll hits and wounds of natural 1 in combat. That's ludicrous. Like, Inner Circle Knights get reroll 1s to hit anyway. But yeah, sure. Like, that sort of, you don't get that sort of reliability in Old World. Anytime that you get any rerolls, it's worth really considering whether that's something you want to build around, and I kind of do. I do quite like that. And also Fiery Heart, I think that's one of the cheaper ones as well.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering correctly.
On the Grandmaster, you're looking at maybe like we can talk about a build.
Oh no, it is the 3 points and the 15, but still.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's just like a spell that you don't have to cast all the time. So yeah, multiplier for sure.
Fantastic stuff. So great stuff there. How are you feeling about the Knightly Orders as a detachment itself? What's your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. There's so much different play. There's just like we've spoke about this before. One of my favorite things about Warhammer is list building, and this is just thousands of hours of this to build. Like, oh, what if there's a meta where this is like how can I fit this in? But yeah, for loads of different lists to build. Love it. It's fluffy. It's cool. Loads of rules.
Yeah,
I mean, I enjoyed this. So.
Loads of different angles to go down, and so I agree with everything you said there. How do you feel about it as something that you can just add to your Grand Order army?
I mean, yeah, this is the way. If we're going to talk competitively, I think we're going to have to. If we want to compete in tournaments, in my opinion, I think we're going to take the Order of the Fiery Heart and we're going to put them in our Grand Army. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Or I mean, obviously we're pretty big on the White Wolf.
That's where I go with it. Yeah. My
first list is we're going to take the Order of the White Wolf. We're going to put a wizard in there. We're going to multiply it again. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's the competitive side. But if you just, I mean, Warhammer there's so many different ways to play Warhammer.
I think one of the real joys to Warhammer is the emotional attachment that people make to armies. So you can look at something and go, okay, we're starting to get tournament data. I can look at a tier list and I can see that this army has a 56% win rate overall. This army only has a 51% win rate. Why would I play it? Well, I really like it. How can I make this the best version of Empire that I possibly can? And I think if that's the way that you look at things, if you go, I love Empire, I want to play them, and that's what I find with Empire players. There's a lot of people who are really passionate about that army specifically, kind of like Dwarf players. You can look at them and go, I now have so many tools to be like, I'm going to make the best version of Empire I can. I'm going to really maximize this aspect because I think this is the best way to play them. Or I just want to try this out. I want to see if this is fun. So, yeah, huge fan of what we've got so far.
Agreed.
All right, perfect. So let's move on to some characters. We've got 2 special characters here, and both of them are pretty interesting, I think. So, as always, we've got one that sort of leans towards the Nuln and one that leads towards the Knightly Order. And we'll start off with the Knightly Order character because that's how it goes in terms of page numbers. So, we've got Harold Gemerson, Grandmaster of the Knights Panther. Grandmaster, which is normally a weapon skill 6 character. This is a weapon skill 7 character. So it's the first legitimate combat character I've seen from Empire, which is really nice. 185 points. You've got, strength and toughness 4, initiative 6, 4 attacks. You have so many rules. Countercharge, first charge, hatred, all of the things you'd expect to have because it's a Knights Panther model. Immediate psychology, what you get for being a Grandmaster. Magic resist 1, quite nice because you're probably not going to be looking at having as much casting, so you might want some magic defense there. Rallying cry, skilled duelist, stubborn, swift stride veteran. Some other rules in here as well. So you start off by saying it belonged to the Knight's Order, so you get to reroll that 1 dice, the way that you know that all of the Knights Panther do, and you can only join Knights Panther units. Super reasonable. Don't have a problem with that. Skilled duelist. This is a wild rule. Should you slay an enemy in a challenge during a turn you charged with Harold, you may immediately issue a second challenge. If your opponent accepts the second challenge, it's fought immediately, meaning that Harold may fight 2 challenges during a single round of combat.
Wild.
I don't know why that's a thing, but I love it so much.
and obviously the combat res just keeps piling up. Like from attacking twice, like attack twice kind of mechanic.
I'd assume so. I'd have to look at the specific wording, but I don't think overkill. I think overkill is capped per challenge. I'll have a look. But so you might look at this and go, yeah, but nobody's ever going to accept 2 challenges. Well, what if you are really relying on a wizard to buff up the unit? Say they've got, a demonology. Because countercharge. Yeah, so maybe there's a demonology caster and a unit of Chaos Knights. You throw out a challenge after you countercharge, and you say, right, I'm going to absolutely slap that unit champion. Unit champion dies. You declare again. Your opponent's like, I've only got a wizard now. I can decline and lose all my buffs, or I can accept and probably lose my wizard. That's not a great bargain to have to take.
It's a spicy mechanic. I'm not sure, like, if we're going to see this guy. Before we're going to see, like, I'm excited to see if you can get some value out of it. Sure. But obviously, it's a very powerful mechanic. But yeah.
The problem is it's then paired with a weapon that I'm not super in love with. No. So it's strength +1, strength 5, AP 1, armor bane 1, killing blow, and you get to reroll any failed wound rolls against Beastmen, which is funny. Again, just screw you, Beastmen. So this is the killing blow is the big thing. Basically, if you're in combat against a character that is on foot or mounted, you're really worrying against the characters that people typically take, which is dragons. Obviously, it doesn't do anything there.
Cavalry, I guess. I mean, you're looking at, like, if he's fighting other knights, and you're looking to get in there.
He's built to deal with other cavalry characters, right? Because he can countercharge, he can issue the challenges, he's got the killing blow to try and sort of sneak through that kill and get you onto a second challenge.
Fishing for that 6, right?
Yeah. I think he's really cool. As you say, I'm not 100% sure he makes it in, but he's a leadership 9 character. He's a genuinely good combatant as far as Empire go. 4 attacks at weapon skill 7. I wouldn't have hated seeing Furious Charge on there, but that's not really Knights Panther, so that's just being greedy. But I
would like to see, if he's not going to be leadership 10, we're never going to see anyone with leadership 10.
Maybe we just need some sort of, like, really tricked out general. Like a general of the Empire who's leadership 10, because he's only this guy is only, the best at riding horses. So yeah, let's move on to
Weapon skill 7's cool, but yeah.
it's very nice. Yeah, General Hans von Lowenhach. I think I got that right, but someone will tell me if I didn't. And this is a general of the Empire, so you have to field him as presented, 190 points. Weapon skill 6, 4 attacks, which is fine for a general. Other than that, decent ballistic skill with no ranged weapon. It always makes me laugh when you look at that and you're like, oh wow, that's a good ballistic skill. Is there any reason? No, there's no reason.
Pay for that,
yeah. So, Mercenary Commander. If Hans is the army general, which he's probably going to be because Leadership 9, going to get in there. Friendly units with the mercenary special rule may benefit from his inspiring presence and may be joined by him. Additionally, friendly mercenary units are not subject to the misbehaving mercenary rule. This is good. I like it.
Fluffy as well, yeah.
As it stands, I don't know if are there any mercenaries that I really want him to join. Not off the top of my head. But as the game continues, there's going to be more mercenaries added.
I mean, are we talking competitive? Like, if me and you were just having a game, like, and
it
we
would
just
be
went out, yeah, it would be. But if we like made some fluffy rules or restrictions, then there's so many things that you can bang him in a unit of Imperial dwarfs. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, if you want a fun game of Warhammer, this is gonna.
And also, as I mentioned, sort of like looking forwards, if infantry do get better, having T4 infantry that he can join, maybe that is something that's genuinely useful. So that's nice. If you want to play mercenaries, he gets rid of the restrictions, the risk of misbehaving mercenaries, which is really nice. Strategic Mastery. When the players roll off for first turn, you may apply a +1 or -1 modifier. Hell yeah. If you play a low drop army, which you're playing Empire, so you're probably not, but if you play a low drop army, you could be consistently slamming down a +2 to go first. That feels pretty likely.
I mean, if you're playing a gun line, I usually go aggressively low drops to try and fish for that +1. So yeah, I mean, +2 is kind of
very hard to fail. Although my experience with playing 4-drop armies and 3-drop armies is I fairly consistently go second anyway.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Griffin Helm. That gives you a 5-up ward against all attacks, and it gives him immune to a killing blow. Just the standard. If you take a killing blow, you still get to make your armor and regen, and you lose a single wound if you fail it. And then you're equipped with genuinely a good weapon. Move over Ogre Blade. We've got a competitor. Shame it's on a melee foot infantry guy, but it is what it is. So strength +2, strength 6, AP 2, magical attacks, multiple wounds 2, requires 2 hands. This is solid.
I wish we could buy a battle chicken for this guy, man.
Yeah.
Then
or even a horse.
Cooking. I mean, he would fit into my my Grand Army gun line if he could get on a battle chicken.
Yeah.
With the 4 attacks like Judgment Hammer, just swinging that around. But 190 points. But yeah, it's cool character, cool as well. But
I could see him fitting into a competitive list, mostly on the basis of that +1 to going first.
Right.
So you're going, I'm going to pay this tax. I'm going to put him in a cheap unit and just use him as a little bit of a countercharge threat that I have to be really careful with how I position because he's not fast. But I'm paying basically 200 points to be like, every game I go first.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. He's too expensive to get near my list.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it was Leadership 10, again, earlier, like if this guy is the best general we've ever seen, like it's not Leadership 10, we're never going to see it. But I mean, he's going to be some fun builds. It's just so many different ideas that you can use for them. So that's the coolest thing, I guess. And he's kind of tough. Griffin Helm, Judgment.
He's all right.
Yeah, let's go.
4-up save, 5-up ward. He's not awful for a foot character. And as like tooled up foot characters go, 190 points doesn't even scratch the surface of what dwarves are bringing. So in that Empire versus dwarf matchup, you're going to be really pleased to have him. There is one more character, and I did mention before, if you're a fan of Flagellants, they're obviously great at dealing with dragons. What if you took a character, a Flagellant, and made it a character? It's obviously going to be better at dealing with it because it can challenge it out, right? So we've got a Flagellant character, jokes aside, which is kind of cool. I like the concept of it. 65 points. It's like hero level character, weapon skill 5, strength and toughness 4, only 2 wounds, 3 attacks, but then also furious charge in there. You can take a flail or a great weapon. You can take 50 points of magic items, yada yada. And then you've got all of the rules you'd expect a fanatic to have. On top of that, you've got Prayer of the Damned, which basically overwrites the Feel No Pain rule they have. Because normally they get a 6-up ward against non-magical attacks and a 5-up ward against non-magical attacks that are strength 5 or greater, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And this gives you, if you get the prayer off, which is on your unmodified leadership of 8 with no rerolls because you're not a veteran, but if you cast it as like the way that you cast prayers, beat your leadership test in the command phase, you get a 6-up ward against all wounds suffered, not just non-magical, and a 5-up ward if the wounds were caused in combat by an enemy with fear or terror.
The dragon.
Yeah, this is fine.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of stats for 65 points, right?
It does what it says in the tip.
Stats.
Yeah, I'm not upset to see it. I probably don't take it, but it's not like an actively bad choice. If you want to run Flagellants for some reason, I don't mean that negative. Like
right.
if you find a reason to put them in,
yeah.
maybe the game gets to a state where you want those unbreakable bricks of infantry.
Yeah, you're looking to capture a point as well.
Yeah, this becomes a good force multiplier for them. So I don't hate it at all.
He's just stats, isn't he? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, this is stocks are currently low on him, but buy high before the market changes. That's the or buy low before the market changes. All right, on to something that I'm genuinely excited for. So I talked about these a little bit on Tuesday, and the more I think about them, the more I like them. I called them like budget Black Orcs. They are kind of budget Black Orcs. So obviously you're losing some rules compared to the Black Orcs, but they are 13 points, whereas a fully upgraded Black Orc is 15.5 if you account for the weapons and the mob rule. So you're paying less, and it does add up. So what do you get? Well, you get a weapon skill 4 Empire model who is T4 with full plate. There's no shields, and that sucks. But you're a T4 model with a 4-up save, which is a decent buy-in for 13 points.
Big lads, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, you've got a fairly unimpressive stat line: 1 wound, 1 attack. You've got the weapons that we talked about earlier. The wolf hammers, they do key off having to charge to get the strength bonus, and this unit is not going to be charging much, so that kind of sucks. But a follow-up would count. So if your opponent falls back in good order, if you somehow win a combat, maybe you stack them with combat res.
They're going to be grinding as well, aren't they? So
they are going to be grinding.
The grind hammer, which we like.
Yeah,
initiative grinding as well. So
yeah, because they've got effectively, at initiative great weapons ish, depending on. I'm less comfortable calling them great weapons because they're never going to be charging, but yeah, absolutely, they do have that ability to grind through. They come with a 6-up ward against flamey attacks, which is fine. There's a lot of flamey attacks in the meta at the moment: Fireball, Pillar of Fire, Blue Fire Siege, Dwarf.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting the name of them. The Iron Drakes.
Iron Drakes, yeah.
If your opponents put a Runesmith into any of their units to give them better armor bane, like flaming comes up pretty regularly, and then you can pay a point to give Guardian of the Temples, which gives you rerolls of 1 to hit in combat. I think as the meta stands, I wouldn't do that because I'm not expecting to make a lot of hits with them. I'm kind of using them as a combat res brick that will hopefully follow up. But how do you feel about that one?
I think I'd just, I think I'd just sneak that. I think I don't. Yeah, like you say, depends on how aggressive the points cost comes out. Sure. How many I want. I think to go back to what you said about the Black Orcs, they've gained. I think the weakest thing about Black Orcs is they don't have drilled. I think drilled is just an absolute monster of a rule, which I think these having drilled, it just gives them so much more play.
Yeah.
They obviously not. They're not as tough as Black Orcs, but with the drilled, they can move, they can fan, they can march in column. I think that makes them. That's the thing that sticks out to me.
Yeah,
that's rule.
I really like them. I feel like even though they're infantry, there's still something to them. They're not quite on the level of Black Orcs because obviously Black Orcs with Motley Crew, they can set it up so they always have a 3-up save against shooting and melee. This unit only ever has a 4-up because there's no shields in there, which does suck a little bit. But you're paying 2.5 points less per model, and you've got your stubborn and veteran rolled in already. You can also give them a magic standard up to 50 points, which is nice. There are some really good magic standards now. The ones in the base book, terrible. The ones in this book, pretty okay. They're pretty okay. And then just something that I've had pointed out to me, which is very funny. You know how it says you can pay 0 to 1 unit can have the Guardians of the Temple special rule.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into the special rule thing underneath them, they have Guardians of the Temple. So because of poor copy editing, they already have the rule. We know the intent. We know the intent is you have to pay the point for it, but that is funny.
Okay, 0 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, so I like these things. I think they're really solid. Again, this is kind of a stocks are low, but if the meta changes, all the way up.
Only what I will say about these kind of combat breaks, whenever I'm list building, I can never really get a list unless they're in core.
Yeah.
No, the Black Hawks are in
hard
core,
to do, yeah.
which absolutely smashes these out of the water, them being core tax. But yeah, I mean, these will see some play. The models are like literally cool as fuck as well. From the Storm of Chaos, I remember it from the Storm of Chaos. Yeah. So yeah, so good.
And you can take them as a special choice either in the Order of the White Wolf or in the Grand Army. If you take any Warrior Priest of Ulrich in Grand Army, you can take a unit of Tatootian Guard 1-to-1, which is nice there. All right. Then we've got another infantry unit, a monstrous infantry. We've got Imperial Ogres, and this had Ogre players across the world seething. I'm just going to jump straight to it. Let's not mess about. Light cannon. Have you seen what the Ogre Lead Belcher is carrying? It's I can't remember the range. I think it's a 12-inch range gun, but I could be wrong with that. But it's strength 3, and I don't think it has any AP on it.
Is this the Lead Belcher?
The Lead Belcher, yeah. it's significantly worse. Whereas here you've got 18-inch range, strength 4, AP 1, armor bane 2, and if you hit, you get D3 hits, which is the better version of multi-shot. Yes, there is more like inconsistency with spiking, but you don't take the -1 to hit for multi-shot because you're not shooting multiple shots.
It's like the blunderbuss, same effect.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm not sold on the light cannon because mostly you're going to be hitting on 6s because you're going to be walking forwards and then long range because it's only an 18-inch gun. But I mean, it's better.
It's like to quote you, it's aggressively fine, isn't it?
Aggressively fine. Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm sneaking these lads in, they're getting the great weapon, right? But yeah, I mean, I can never think that they can never get in.
No.
Same for all the mercenaries, really. There's kind of
it's hard,
attacks where
this is something that I'm glad is in the game, even if I'm not going to use it myself, just for other people, right?
Maybe there's a build like, I mean, there's 100 points for 3 ogres with great weapons, right? Maybe there's like, I don't know. We'll see if we can squeeze them in.
Someone will really want to make them work, and if there's a way to make them work, someone will work it out because they'll be passionately trying. But yeah, so it's basically an ogre bull. They are motley crew, so you can play around with what you give them. Unfortunately, you can't abuse this in the way that some other armies can. So there's no magic item allowance for the captain, which is a shame, and you can't take any. What are they called? The Iron Fists, which means that you don't get them up to a 4-up save. But you can pay to 3 points to give them heavy armor, get them up to a 5-up save, and then you can give them great weapons, which we all know what they are. Morning Stars, which nobody knows what it does. It's basically a flail, but it's strength and AP 1. So first round of combat, you're strength 5, AP 1. Second round of combat, you just drop down to your base strength, but you still keep the AP. I probably wouldn't go that way. Like you say, the great weapons are good. They've got enough density of wounds that you can get away with just fighting less.
Strength 6 is just good, isn't it? So
yeah. The ogre pistol as well is basically just a handgun, which I really like that detail. Their hands are so big that their pistols are handguns.
Yeah.
So that is a 24-inch range, strength 4, AP 1, armor bane 1, quick shot. So you can move and shoot without penalty.
Oh yeah.
I think I'd be interested in them if it was a brace of ogre pistols. Then you'd get the additional attack and the additional shot. But I think, given that that's the only weapon you can take, I don't think I'm super excited to take the ogre pistols.
There's obviously the other problem with these is we're talking competitively as we always will. If you can't have them be misbehaving, like we can't have that. Like we can't be like, oh, okay. I mean, I think there's a good if they're misbehaving. There's something they can get, which is. I've not looked at it for a while, but we need that consistency. So unless you're running unless you find a build with the general, what was his name, Hans, was it?
Yeah. I think when we're going Okay, so to make our unit that probably isn't quite there, but maybe we can sort of line up the constellations and make it good enough. To do that, we have to take a character that isn't quite there, but maybe we can line things up. At that point, maybe you're going a little bit too much into the realm of,
We're
but
memeing a little bit, but it's
yeah,
fun to be had there for sure.
cool.
Yeah.
It's good to have, and they're mercenaries. They can go into dwarves. They can go into empire. Just nice to have. I'm sure there is some world somewhere that you're like, actually, this makes sense. I just haven't worked it out yet.
Yep.
I was just having a look, and there is no positive on the misbehaving.
Okay.
There is ambushes. They could come in as ambushes, but ambushes is not a great rule in general, so I don't love that.
I don't like ambushes.
And you're probably tooling them up for melee. And then there's also minus movement and initiative, stupidity, or -1 leadership. All of those hate that.
Leadership 7 as well.
Yeah. So we're just going to move on. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
And we've got the Empire Road Wardens. Now you are very hot on these, which I like. So
yeah.
Stat line wise, they're basically outriders. They're ballistic skill 4, which is great for a human. Strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7, yada yada. They are light cavalry. They come in units of 4+, and they are equipped with heavy armor as standard. So that's a 5-up armor save. They've got war horses with no barding, and they've got crossbows. Talk to me. Tell me why you like them.
They start with crossbows.
Yeah.
But then we always swap the crossbows for the bracer pistols. That's my opinion. But yeah, and it's just like, obviously our favorite rule, surely your favorite rule, is obviously in the whole game. Please tell me
up there.
Feign flight, isn't it?
It's so good.
Like,
so
inject that rule into my veins. Like that, just putting that on this unit, it's the pistoliers everyone always wanted.
Yeah, basically they are the stat line of pistoliers.
Yeah,
they just don't have impulsive.
And the BS4 pistoliers, I think the BS3.
I think they're both. I think they're ballistic skill 4 as well. I think it's not impulsive; it's impetuous. I think the only thing that's stopping pistoliers are impetuous, but because they're equipped with pistols and you have to get close to shoot them. Yeah.
Are you sure that they are pistoliers?
I could be wrong with that, but I think so. I think they're ballistic skill 3. Tell you what, let's not check. Someone down in the comments can let us know, because it doesn't matter. We've got the new hotness.
But yeah, this unit, so Scout, I mean, it's just another unit of gut runners with a brace. But these, I want a unit of these in my Nuln army, because you need, in my opinion, it's a really nice other unit of scouts. Like, we've had a few scout battles in our games.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible board control piece, and especially for a gun line, which, shock horror, I'm going to build the Nuln as a gun line.
Yeah.
So I've got my scout piece, and they're just so annoying. Like, this is some builds like Warriors of Chaos. How do they? I mean, they've obviously got the magic missiles, which is the bane of skirmishing scouts.
Yeah.
But feign flight with the pistols, just running away and just being an absolute nuisance. Yeah, I really like this unit.
Yeah, and you can fit them in with 3 Hellblaster volley guns, so perfect.
Fire and flee, swift stride, feign fly is so fucking annoying.
Yeah,
it's such a good combo.
They have scouts and they also have vanguard, so you can deploy them outside of their range, and then you can move into range, and then you can run past the thing you vanguarded towards because you want to kill the war machines.
Yeah,
there's a lot of flexibility there.
They're a bit on the. They're not cheap, but I'm fielding at the moment. My first list had a unit of these straight in, and I've sacrificed another Hellblaster to put them in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like them.
They're very comparable to Dark Riders in terms of cost, and they have much better output because both of them have 2 shots. Yeah, feign flight.
Imagine if Dark Riders had feign flight, that'd be outrageous. Yeah, but you see what I mean? Like, these, like they're comparable. They've got the feign flight, but leadership 7 as well. Like, with as same got runners, you need the feign flight. Just makes them so much more utility. But yeah, I really like this unit.
Yeah, no, I love them. Do you think there's any scope at all to keeping some with crossbows and just having them as a relatively tanky mobile crossbow unit?
I mean, it depends on your battle plan. I can't think of the right way to describe it. But for me, in my gun line, these, say if you're playing Richie, for example, and he wants to unit up the board. So people, or a Chaos Knight boss who wants to just Arcane Urgency, and you need to block a path.
Yeah.
I want one unit to just stand in front of them with pistols, so they can't. So they have to charge them, which you can redirect, and just so this is that they fit all those roles, because you can use archers obviously,
Yeah.
but I think these just are better than doing that job, because they've got So it depends how you want to use. There's going to be some builds where they've got crossbows, but for doing the job that I want,
yeah,
they would have pistols, a brace of pistols, and they'll just be like, because they can also fight chaff as well. They can absolutely bash skink, stuff like that, because they've got like 3 attacks each per model on the charge then.
Sure.
So they've got even more utility, but it's not just the shooting. Obviously, the brace of pistols to get the extra attack in combat. But yeah, I don't think I'm excited about putting them in with crossbows, because I'd rather just have another unit of outriders.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. It's hard to argue with. I really do like them with the pistols. That is a very interesting unit, and it's a great sort of frenzy baiting, harrying, flank. Getting around the sides, war machine hunting.
Yeah.
All of these things are good, because if you're charging a war machine, you might get 3 or 4 models in base-to-base contact, depending on how you rank up. If you're putting 9 or 12 attacks into a human war machine, maybe not a dwarf, you're probably going to kill those crew.
Yeah, I think you should still. I mean, I've not looked at the math, but you should still take a dwarf one, probably.
Average
with 3 attacks per model.
You'd do, if you got 4 into base-to-base contact, you'd do 2 wounds before saves into a dwarf war machine.
I'll take that.
Which is, maybe you win combat, or maybe you don't. Maybe it
spikes. Dwarves. No, but yeah, fun unit. Right? I've got the best thing about him. I bought some Pistoliers.
Yeah.
In Feb, and just never got near my list. So now they're back. I assume, I'm going to make a guess. I don't know, but everyone's biggest feel bad about Empire was Pistoliers. So they're like, this is here. You can use Pistoliers, everyone. Kind of situation. So that's cool.
I like it. I think they're great. Let's move on to something else that I like and think is great, and that is the Empire War Wagon. This beauty, look at it. 140 points. For a heavy chariot that's T5 with a 3-up save and 6 wounds. That is 2 wounds more than every other heavy chariot. Not every other chariot, but like your standard chariot is, if we're talking a heavy chariot, like the Chosen Chariot, the Black Hawk Chariot, the Boar Boy Chariot, that sort of realm, you're looking at T5 with 4 wounds and a 3-up save, or a 4-up save if you're, particularly weedy. So this is...
Feels like you're saying it feels like a bit of a power creep on the chariots.
It makes sense in terms of... So it pays for it in other ways. So like if you look at the Black Hawk Chariot, the models on top of the Black Hawk Chariot are significantly better than the ones... Although there's 6 of them here. Yeah. So... But I really like it. So you are a heavy chariot, so you've got the AP2 for your impact hits. You get D6 plus 1 impact hits, which is very good. You've then got D3 plus 1 stomp attacks, which come with crushing rate. Crushing weight to AP1.
It's outrageous, that is,
it's a mini steam tank.
Yeah, it is. It's filthy for 140,
I really like it. You also get to go across low linear obstacles as if the dangerous terrain instead of impassable, which is fine. It's a rule that exists. If you play at the TSN arena and there are rivers, this, I guess, comes up. So that's cool. You can send your war wagons across the water, which makes thematic sense. You've also got a stable firing platform. I really like this rule. So you can shoot after you march the war wagon. And if anyone's played with chariots, the big problem you're going to have is getting them anywhere that matters. So you have to march them. But you're paying for guns on the top. So you kind of want to shoot them. And they're not amazing. They're kind of piddly. But you're still like... I've got 3 guns that I'm just not using. 4, because you're probably going to put an engineer on top of one of these. Spoiler alert. So being able to march and then still shoot, and it's a chariot, so it's got a 360-degree line of sight. I think that's just cool. I'm a big fan of that.
It's nice, It's just, I mean, I don't think you're bringing these for the shooting output, right?
No, but it adds up if you run 6 of them.
Fair. This is... I've heard some excitement about getting as many of these on the table. Heard they were good, rumored to be good before they came out. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely some aggressive chariot builds, like bit of like your nomadic war list that are just going to be firing as many war wagons at you as possible, which is awesome. So
Yeah, I think the real strength is that there are, from my perspective, I consider this to be wildly undercosted in terms of defensive stats. So paying for 140 points, you get T5, 6 wounds, 3 up save. I mostly look at chariots as a vehicle for characters. You put an engineer on top of there for another 45 points, you get +2 wounds, but you also get access to, if you want to, you can put a ward save on there as well. And suddenly you've got a BSB with 8 wounds and a 3 up save and a 5 up ward save that's packing that 3 combat res. It's doing stomp attacks, it's doing impact hits, it's doing a hilarious assortment of attacks that probably won't do anything in combat, but it's fine because it's got everything else. Yeah, I really like it. Let's have a look at the hilarious assortment of attacks that won't do anything else. We've got the assorted weapons rule. Each member of the war wagons crew, and there's 6 of them, that's probably why it's got 6 wounds, right? 1 for each crew member.
Yeah.
They're all equipped separately. One has a blunderbuss, one has a long rifle, one has a repeating rifle. And then in melee, you've got one with a ball and chain, one with a hooked halberd, and one with a man catcher. And they also all have hand weapons as well. In the shooting phase, you can shoot all the guns. In the combat phase, you can use all of the melee weapons, and then everyone else has to use hand weapons. I don't know if it needed explaining, but they did, and I'm not against it. Blunderbuss. We know what a blunderbuss does. It's a 12-inch range, single shot, strength 3, AP1, multi-shot, volley fire, and it takes no penalties for firing at long range, multiple shots, or for making a stand and shoot charge reaction. So this is like incidental firepower, but it's the best version of incidental firepower you'll get because it's...
saw that in the Brigands, didn't we?
Yeah. The Brigands have got it. Chaos Dwarves as well have it as well in the Legacy factions. Then we've got a long rifle, which is a single shot, strength 4, AP1 cumbersome, so it can't stand and shoot. It can target specific models within a unit, such as a champion or a character. They will then lookout sir it, so this doesn't matter. But if you take 6 of them, they're going to fail some of those lookout sirs.
It's not from Hockland, though, so it's not AP2, which is pretty sad.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, just get one from Hockland, mate.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm assuming because this is the time of the 3 emperors, right? This is before we have a unified empire. So I don't know what the state.
They don't want to sell. They're not selling their rifles to no one.
Man, I wouldn't be selling better rifles to my enemies. I'd be shooting them with them. And then we've also got a repeating rifle, which is a repeater handgun, but named differently. Again, maybe this is trademarked from a different city, but it's multiple shots 3, strength 4, AP1, armor bane 1. Oh no, I'm telling you lies. It is different. It doesn't have ponderous on it.
Yeah, you can march and shoot it as well, I guess. So that's
Well, although that's just on the base model, right? That's
I mean, so it's makes it better.
We've got some piddly fire there. It's not all that much, but again, if you're taking these in multiples, it will start to add up, and you will start to chip away at things.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how I see that list playing. Then in melee, you've got a single attack with the ball and chain. You're a base human, so that gets you up to strength 6, AP2, armor bane 1, strikes last. So it's basically a great weapon in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Then you've got a hooked halberd, so strength 4, AP2, armor bane 2, requires 2 hands. Doesn't matter. You've got nothing else to be doing with the other hand. And then finally, you've got a man catcher, which is strength 3, AP1, killing blow. So you're only fishing for the 6s, but it's going to be real funny when you charge into, let's say, a unit of Gors with a Minotaur in it, and you direct your killing blow attack into the Minotaur Lord, and you roll a 6, and they don't roll a ward save.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Where are the Nuln state troops with ball and chain, though? Am I right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how easy that would be to use, like, just theoretically in a ranked up sense. You stood shoulder to shoulder. You're like, all right, lads, we got my
skirmishing.
It's sort of like pseudo plague monks.
Yeah. Plus 3 strength is wild, but I mean, it's fun. It's cool.
Cool. Yeah, lovely stuff. So it's just a lot of rules, and it's one of those things you look at and like nothing there kind of makes you go, this is broken.
Yeah.
But there's so much on it that I'm like, I think this is just an efficient enough pile of stats to get it over the line, and you can take so many of them because scrolling down, you can take them in Nuln. We know you can take them in Nuln, or you can take them in Grand Army. 0 to 1 is a rare choice per 1,000 points. 140, so you can easily put them in too. Although it does kind of cross it into territory of your Hellblaster volley guns. You can't take 2 of these and 2 Hellblaster volley guns. It's maybe a limiting factor.
Whether it fits into the archetype of gun line, I'm not sure, but maybe.
Or you could just be playing the archetype of chariots
I mean, yeah, let's go full send. I mean, this is we're open. They've opened the door for that now. So yeah,
they absolutely have, because there's also the Lector of Sigmar on the war altar and the steam tank. So you've got multiple heavy chariots with
Mad
many
Max it up.
wounds. Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
But you can also take them as a mount for an Empire Engineer, which I really like. As I mentioned before, I like chariots as mounts. They're immune to Killing Blow. They're immune to Monster Slayer. You can layer defenses. You get extra wounds. The BSB is a fantastic thing just to have. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of it, and it's a large target. Sometimes a downside, but you can put models in front of it if you just want to, get the most out of your engineer. You can give him a gun, take 4 sets of pot shots from the top of it from behind some state troops that you had to take, the Nuln state troops. So you've got some interesting play there.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you feel about the war wagon? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm not that excited about the guns or the ball and chain. I just think the 140 points for the, like you say, the you can't ignore that.
No,
you cannot ignore that. So you have to deal with it. So if 700 points, you can take 5, and then it's just like Jesus. Like it's just, again, you can get. I like how it's priced. It's aggressively priced, where you can get that saturation going.
Yeah.
And it can make a full send archetype an aggressive. In my opinion, that's the way I'd go with it. Like, just yeah, I like it. It's obviously just for 140 points, so many stats. It's awesome.
You're going to be seeing some Sword of Might Empire Engineers on war wagons come into a maybe not Sword of Might. That might be pushing it over the line.
But definitely some dragon bows and some just.
Dragon Bow can only go on the generals, unfortunately. The general.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it? Yeah, you're right. Maybe.
So you're like, do I maybe take a cheap captain just to put it on there? Maybe.
Can you take the arc? I mean, we'll come to that. But can you take the new magic gun and march with it?
Oh, maybe.
That's interesting.
I obviously would be able to march with it, yeah, because it's to do with the model that gives
steady firing plan. If I'm taking these, I'm looking to run stuff over, to be honest. But
yeah, I think that makes sense. But if we're going to run stuff over, we're probably putting characters on them. And if we're taking characters, let's have a look at the magic items.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to take a slight departure from the war wagon just for a second. And I'm going to say shout out to Shane, the Aspot judge, because he wanted to be the first one to tell me about it. So I've got to give him the shout out here. There is the Hammer of Righteousness. It's a 50-point magic item. Strength +2, AP -2, magical attacks, requires 2 hands, strikes last. Models hit by the Hammer of Righteousness must make a leadership test for each hit suffered. If the test is failed, the hit wounds automatically and no armor save allowed, but you still take regen and ward saves. And if they pass, you roll to wound and armor saves are made as normal, but at AP2. So that's just decent for 50 points. Like, that's pretty okay. But it strikes last, which kind of sucks because it's hard to get a defensive character and you don't have that many attacks. What if you took an illusion caster with Spectral Doppelganger?
Now you're talking my language.
Now we're talking. Because you're going to, let's say you get it off, which is the whole shebang there. You can take 1 power scroll while doing this. So let's say you get it off at least once. You roll an average of 7 hits. And you just then go to your opponent. Can you please take 7 leadership tests for me? Because it's not for every hit you roll. It's just for every hit they suffer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you roll. You're like, oh, damn, I got 11. Sweet. I'd like you to take 11 leadership tests, please. In 15 minutes' time, your opponent's like, right, I've finished all my leadership tests and also my character's dead. So that's pretty cool.
You called it. As soon as I saw 50, I was like, plus 30 for the Lore Familiar. And that leaves a fucking power scroll. Yeah. Obviously, that's where I went first. It gives you the doppelganger build because in my opinion, you need that power scroll for the consistency. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool item. Yeah, why not? With the leadership, there's some armies that are going to really not appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, it's just another archetype that we can spend hours an old world builder trying to make work, which is the best thing ever. So
yeah, do I think it's good? I don't know, because really, if you're doing this, you probably want the Necromancy caster. And this is where that Priest of Morr comes in, the Knights of Morr army. Because if you're taking, the Necromancy caster and you've got the fear-causing models, you get some benefit there. But if you can slap something that's, let's say, Chaos only have leadership 9, If you hit them with the 2 debuffs in necromancy, get them down to leadership 6, suddenly they're at risk of taking at least 3 or 4 wounds.
Yeah, it's a lot of dice, but yeah, I mean, I'm with you. My initial gut instinct was, yeah, cool, but he's going to struggle to get near my list. But yeah, maybe it will be wrong. I don't know, but there's some fun ways to like multiply the strength of it.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's super cool. I think there is a world that you take it, especially because we do have characters that want to do damage.
Yeah.
I don't know if it goes in White Wolf because you've already got such a good weapon there, but maybe there's another knightly order that you go, I'm going to put this in. There's something here that I want to do with it. So, cool magic item. Genuinely has a reason to take it over Ogre Blade, and that is fun. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, good breakpoint. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very rare that it happens, so it's nice to see. Pearl Daggers, 35 points. These are combat, strength user, AP1, extra attacks D3, requires 2 hands, magical attacks, but you re-roll any failed to hit rolls in combat, 35 points. How do you feel about
that? So I just always, if I see D3, so I'm like +2 attacks, because I'm just looking
average,
statistically, and then like always hatred, right? Like basically permanent hatred. I mean, it's not. It could be worse. I mean,
you look at it and you're like, "There's got to be a way to break this, right?" It's got just enough. It's like the war wagon. You're like, "There's just enough here that this feels like it should be good in some way."
With a maybe is this the potion of strength? Is this the? I don't know. No, it's weird. 35 is a weird.
I think I've got the answer.
Okay.
So you are running a unit of knights in Grand Army.
Okay.
Perhaps we're saying White Wolf, Inner Circle Knights. They're good. But you want to juice them to the 9s. You're going to take a Demonology Caster.
Okay.
What are you going to equip your Demonology Caster with? A 35-point magic item. That gets you up to Strength 4 from the Demonology Demonic Vigor spell, or Demonic Vessel, whichever one it is. I forget. They shouldn't start with Demonic and then V. Sidebar. It's so poorly named. Vessel for the strength and AP and attacks.
Yep.
So this gets you up to strength 4 on the Empire Wizard, which is not amazing, but it's fine. AP 2, and it's an additional attack as well. So that gets you up to 3 plus D3, and you're rerolling your hits. And that's just enough to be like, yeah, I'd probably pay 35 points if my game plan is to go in and roll Demonic Vessel and just be like, I just want to wipe something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, it's aggressively fine.
Yeah. I'm taking it because I want it to work, as opposed to being like, this is genuinely.
We're trying our hardest to get it in, but and the 35 kills me because with the Lore Familiar, then it doesn't.
You can't take 2 Power Scrolls.
You can't take 2 fucking Power Scrolls. Yeah, so it's. I mean, I don't know. I'm not big on this, but it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that's like, it probably doesn't make it, but there are ways to put it in a list and go, you know what, actually, that's kind of cool.
If it was 30, then
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely cool.
If you could put it on unit champions, like if there are Empire unit champions that could take it, maybe I'd be interested there. Just give you a bit more punch. But yeah, anyway, I like it, but it's maybe not going into my lists. Blade of Silvered Steel, 30 points. It is strength +1, AP -1, hatred undead, magical attacks, and you can only take it in the knightly order, Army of Infamy. But undead models can't make armor and regeneration saves against this. It's kind of cool.
It's cool as
very niche. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, my first reaction is just situational. Yeah. So as competitive player, can't get near my list really unless it's fucking just like Armageddon of like Tomb Kings players maybe or something like that. But it's cool. It's cool as fuck. If you're looking for a one-off game, I mean it's just fluffy. Like
if your local meta is very heavy on undead, give this a serious look.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think at rate it doesn't do it, but if you're getting in, you're re-rolling all of your hits, and then any wound that goes through, they don't get to take any saves apart from any ward saves they might have.
Yeah,
I'm on board with that.
Blood Knight is not.
That's so unfair. Yeah. Oh god, yeah. You put this on a Grandmaster, and you go in and you're like, cool, I kill 4 of them.
Like, oh, you've brought the blade of silvered steel just for our one-off
that
game
must be
on
really good. Like, how many points it cost? Yeah, 30 points. I've not been so impressed by magic weapons by any army in, I think, the entirety of the edition. So I'm jazzed about this. There's one that's good so far, and we've got two that are like conditionally. Yeah, actually, I kind of like them.
Yeah.
And then we've got Von Trickshot, which is it's the classic Games Workshop naming convention. The Wondrous Arquebus, 25 points.
Yeah.
36-inch range, strength 5, AP 2, armor bane 1, multiple wounds D3. You can only take it in the city-state of Nuln, Army of Infamy, and the wielder does not suffer the usual -1 to shoot at long range.
All right, let's crowbar this in somehow. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, this goes on one of your engineers.
Yeah, it's annoying that maybe I was thinking, would I? Yeah, you would upgrade it from a grade launch. I love the grade launch in Blunderbusters, but yeah, this is just 15 points more. This filth. Yeah,
that's the thing, isn't it? Because the weapons, the range weapons for engineers are already so expensive.
Yeah,
like, yeah, let's put it in.
Yeah, I mean, you're crowbarring this in, aren't you? Let's face it.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. No notes. You have to be playing the City of Null to take it, but if you're doing it, you're doing it.
Yeah.
Magic armor. Again, 2 winners. Shield of the Gorgon, 40 points. This is when I say a winner, this is conditional. You can only take it in the Knightly Order Army of Infantry. So the biggest base you can put this model on is a Demigryph, which is 50 mil wide. In addition, in base contact with the bearer, enemy models are -1 to their attack characteristic to 1 as a minimum. This is so niche, but when it works, it's incredible.
Are you big on this? Yeah.
You
sound excited about it.
I love it. Here's the thing: I'm never taking it. We need a meta where we're seeing loads of infantry with 2 attacks. That's the world where this becomes like, oh yeah, no, this is really solid. Because if you're just charging a dragon and you go, aha, now your Chaos Lord only has 4 attacks and the dragon only has 5, and then you stomp me, and I'm a fine paste on the floor.
Yeah, I paid 40 points for that.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it's cool, but yeah, I mean, build
again, stocks are low, but buy low, sell high. That's what I'm saying.
My build, will come to it soon, and we'll get into it. But my Grandmaster build is very defensive, so I mean, this is a defensive, but like you say, it's not stopping you from dying.
No,
it's just stop. Yeah, you're just a slightly slower to get to the pace.
Right. Let's talk this. So, skirmishes. There's nothing in the rule that says that the front of the model has to be the thing that makes contact. Right. Technically, skirmishers can charge sideways. So if you're on a Demigryph and you're a solo model, you are a skirmisher. So you're 75 mil long. So you can get in combat with 5 25 mil models.
Okay.
And you know how supporting attacks work, where you can only make a single attack into you. If you get into base to base with them, it's like they're making that supporting attack they would have made anyway, so it makes no difference. But it's a funny rules interaction.
Yeah, I mean,
just full Tokyo drift,
just drifting around, swinging into people's flanks. I mean, it's like you say, I can't see it getting near my list, but it's cool.
As soon as we have heavy infantry meta, where everyone's rocking like 2 attack infantry, when dwarf hammers are a big problem.
All right, I remember that.
Cool. Twice blessed armor. I really like this one. 25 points for full plate. I'm in already. I'm in. I want that for anyone who can buy armor but can't take full plate. Amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I was going to say, so you've got your 2,000 point list.
Yeah.
You've forgotten to put in this. Get your crowbar out, find 25 points.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if I take it on a character that can buy full plate normally. At that point, agreed. I like it, but it's like I would cut it to fit more guns in.
I like it on a champ. If I haven't got it on my Priest of Ulrich, which I'm sure we're both zoning in on that, going a High Priest of Ulrich.
Yeah. There are a couple of things, but this is definitely one of them.
That's what I mean about the crowbar. If I'm like, I can't get it in imagine a world where my Empire Knight champion hasn't got any items, and I'm getting it in there. Because the ban spell, you can hit that in both combat phases, right?
Yeah.
It's just a lot of output for 25 points.
Let me sell you on it.
Into a 2-up save as well. So
Internet. Do you have a friend who plays Wolves of the Sea, or do you go to tournaments and you're worried that you might have to face against Wolves of the Sea? Well, take this on your unit champion. Then they'll challenge you, and you go, "Sure, okay, I'm going to roll Hammer Hand. You're not within dispel range of me
because we're on a challenge in the middle of nowhere."
I think. Hey, actually, I don't know, because you're not technically in the combat phase. I don't know if you can technically cast it. I think technically you can't dispel because it's not on a turn, but also technically you can't cast it. So what happens between reasonable people is that you can cast it and your opponent can fated dispel it.
Absolutely. That has to be the way, surely.
Yeah.
But every round you just keep casting it and fated dispelling it.
Yeah, no, I hadn't even considered that. And it also gives a unit champion in like normal Empire Knights a 2-up save as opposed to the 3-up save that regular have,
I did not consider that as one of the benefits. So that's just on the Empire Knight, make him a 2-up as well. I mean, it's not nothing, is it? But
so where I really like this is if you're going, especially the War Wagon. You stopped talking about the War Wagon for a little bit, so I've got to pull you back in. I quite like the War Altar of Sigmar, just having one of those, because the buffs that it gives you, you can give itself and another unit a 5-up ward in the shooting phase, which is quite nice, or it's got some other buffs which are good. But it has a 4-up save natively, so just pay 25 points, give it this, give it a shield. It doesn't have grinding wheels, so just have Hammer Hand instead.
Hammer Hands are strong. I think it's good.
I really like it. I've played a lot of combat sorceresses in my Dark Elves, and I find Hammer Hand is consistently decent. Sometimes you're going to end up in combat with a Green Knight, and it'll do on average 1 wound a turn, or around 1 wound a turn, and then you've got close order, and you just sort of like grind it down.
Yeah, I'm not huge on the Elector of Sigmar and the War Altar, only because I haven't had time to sweat a list with that archetype yet.
That's fair. That's super fair.
But yeah, getting him to a 3 is a nice breakpoint.
Yeah. Let's talk about something that you will have looked at, and that is the Witch Hunter's Ward.
Yeah.
So, have you played as or against Chaos? Do you think that having the Brazen Collar, which is a 20-point extremely common magic item for Magic Resist 2, is too good? I also think that. So, for some reason, you can have that and also reroll a single armor save once per game.
Love it.
Why is rate not just like you can have... So, an Obsidian Lodestone, which is the base... Yeah. This means that it costs, what is it, 20 points for Magic Resist 1?
20, yeah.
So you're getting it for half the price, and it's extremely common, and it can go on unit champions. Just get a reroll as well. It's nuts. I don't understand. I love it though.
Love that. Really love that asterisk. I love that. Extremely common. Like, that's making the list.
Every unit champion that can have magic items.
It's made with my Grand Army gun line. It's made the list already 3 times. Yeah. Looking back at it, it's gone on the chicken. It's gone on the Knights because it's just strong. So,
yeah,
it's just because it's Cortex in that build. But it's just that's very, very strong. I am
cool. Let's balance that out. Slayer's Hourglass, 10 points. Enemy models whose troop type is monster suffer a -1 modifier to their weapon skill while in base contact with the bearer. Your weapon skill's so bad that it doesn't matter.
This is my item. This is my favorite item in the book.
Okay, sell me.
Right? So, my Grandmaster build.
Uh-huh.
What is the worst thing for a Night Boss to encounter?
A dragon.
Okay, so why is a Grandmaster shit versus a dragon usually?
Because it dies to stomps.
It stomps, yes, but the breakpoint for combat characters usually
weapon skill 7.
Yeah, so why don't we get the Slayer's Hourglass and make them weapon skill 6?
Mm-hmm.
So the build for a Grandmaster, you've got 100 points of magical items. So Bedazzling Helm costs 60.
So the -1 to
fucking Talisman of Protection costs 30.
Sorry, bud, you lagged out there for a second.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're back.
Yep.
So Bedazzling Helm 60.
Mm-hmm.
I've always like, how can I not die to the dragon? Bedazzling Helm. Talisman of Protection, 2-up, 5-up, -1 to hit. Yeah, but they're weapon skill 7, so that it's just still not great. How about a 10-point magical item that makes all combat characters hit me on a 4 instead of a 3.
So,
because I've got 10 points left.
I hate to do this to you. I'm going to ruin your day. You know what weapon skill most dragons start at?
What?
6.
No, the combat lord that I'm thinking about, like the dwarf king.
Sure.
The elf, the chaos, the lord.
Yeah.
Lord
I mean, the Chaos Lord is going to roll weapon skill turn 1 if you buy this item. You just know that, like, guaranteed they get plus weapon skill. You're like, oh no, my funny, like, my cool big brain idea.
Yeah.
You just rolled a 4. Why would you do this?
Fair, but the undead dragon's weapon skill 3. So now that hits on a 6.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't hate that.
And what else have we got in our night boss for the Grandmaster of the Knights of the White Wolf? We've got the Mark of Nurgle.
Yeah.
We've got the battle prayer where you re-roll 6s to hit. So now those fuckers are hitting on 5s.
Yeah.
And re-rolling 6s to hit. And our Grandmaster's just dodge it. He's just dodge it. We've got a static res of 5.
Yeah.
And the Grandmaster's just fucking Kung Fu Panda in this dragon, dodging these blows. If he survives, then we win the combat. And we fucking chase him down.
I can't tell if you're a genius or an idiot. I think it's somewhere in between the two.
I've been waiting for this item. No, but I mean...
this is either the best thing I've ever heard or the worst, and I can't tell you which it is.
It's just... that build is always so fucking annoying because it was weapon skill 6. But this is... when I first looked at this, I was like, this fucking shit item. Like, it's just silly. But then I was like, that build that I've been waiting for, that 10-point item that... I mean, for 10 points, you're not going to get chunks. But if you've got 10 points left on your magical items allocation on a combat lord, I'm taking this. Like, and it might make it viable. I'm excited, mate.
Do you just die to stomps, though? Like,
I mean, the problem? You've got a 2 up, 5 up, right?
Yeah, so you get 3.5 hits, call it 3 wounds, call it 1.5. So you take a wound per stomp on average. How many wounds do you take from a Chaos Lord with Ogre Blade? 5 attacks hitting you on 5s. We're just going to assume they haven't rolled weapon skill, which is, not an unreasonable assumption. So let's say they get... you've got to reroll the 6s.
Reroll 6s, yeah. I mean, all we're trying to do is, even if he dies...
Yeah.
We can still win combat.
You just want to stack the combat res, yeah.
We'll double outnumber them, so it gives us a 27% chance to run him down, theoretically. Yeah. We're trying to make... forever, I'm trying to make this competitive on game 4 or 5 in a GT.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to win a random game. I'm trying to be like, how can I win a GT with a combat empire build?
So the next thing you do with this unit... Do you need to take Do you need to take War Banner in there to get that combat res?
So it's the we're not we can see it there. We're not, but the tapestry of. By the way, the Grandmaster can also hit back. He's also so we're looking at. I mean, I was gonna come up to the build. So it's like Furious Charge, Battle Frenzy. Mm-hmm. So your Grandmaster's he's likely to chip a wound as well with his great.
So the problem with that is the hammer is a 2-handed weapon, so you've only got a 3-up save.
Full plate, Bardin, Bedazzling Helm.
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It is a 2-up save without a shield. Okay, cool. Please continue.
No, so we've got a static res of 5, close order, banner, BSB, war banner, rank. Because if we're fighting a dragon, we're going to have a rank.
Yeah.
On our boss. And then we're gonna. I reckon he can on his day. He can do a wound back because he's gonna have 5 attacks, re-rolling 1s. He's gonna have friend hatred, so he's re-rolling the hits, re-rolling 1s to wound from this banner.
Yeah. Let's assume he doesn't have hatred because that only lasts on your turn, and you've got less mobility on the knights, but you're still re-rolling 1s to hit. So and you're hitting him on 3s because the Chaos Lord is debuffed to weapon skill 6.
Well, no, 4s because we're still 6.
Oh, sorry, yes, yeah, you're 6 as well. So hitting on 4s, re-rolling 1, so you're still getting like 3 hits there.
I was looking for that hatred and furious charge to give me.
You'd get the furious charge from the counter charge. The hatred, I think it's going to be difficult to charge a dragon, but maybe they just give it to you. Maybe they don't respect the fact that you are the slayer of the dragons.
So I agree. So that it's just trying to stay alive though, because obviously you've probably I spoke to a few people, Empire players, about this. We're trying to write a list, but when we put a wizard in there, they just challenge us out and we lose all our buffs.
Yeah, you definitely need a combat character in there, like the Pasha's list from the Espot finals, where he has at least one wizard in the unit, but he also has the Chaos Lord. So it's like, oh, you want to challenge me to try and get the sorcerer? Yeah, please. I'm going to hit you so hard. So I've got a way to make this better. So we're skipping ahead a little bit. We'll get onto the magic banners, but the Icon of Morr. A unit carrying the Icon of Morr gains the Fear special rule. If they already have the Fear special rule, they instead gain the Terror special rule. Is there any way to give the unit Fear and then also give it Terror? Because then the dragon's at -1 leadership when you double outnumber them to make them break and flee. Is there a way to give them Fear?
If you go Morrs have Fear, don't they? But
can you do it with White Wolf so they hit harder? Because you can do that with Morr, and I like that, and I think Morr is a more competitive way to build the detachment. We'll ruminate on it. We'll see if there's something that you can squeeze in there. But so Icon of Morr, the first magic banner we'll look at, gives you Fear. If you already have Fear, they gain Terror, 25 points. As you say, the Morr knights already have Fear, so it gets them up to Terror. That's cool. I love it. It's thematic.
I love this on demis as well, man. Right?
Oh yeah.
So this is just if you've got a unit of demis, this is just you crowbar this on them.
It's not even locked to the Army of Infamy. It's not locked to Morr.
Exactly. So this goes on a unit of demis, and that's really nice. Down the flank, just being even more of a menace. So yeah, I like it. Sick item. Yeah.
Big fan. So then we've got the banner of the Knights Panther. 80 points. You can only get to Knight Panther units, but they gain Unbreakable.
Yeah, this is shocking. This is my least favorite thing in the whole book, because the Knights Panther, they have to have lancers.
Well, Knights Panther knights have to have lancers. This would be if you wanted to go for a melee combat brick, in my opinion. If you want to go for a really tanky infantry brick, that's the sort of like use case of it, right? Which is, I guess, that 0-1 unit of Empire State Troops that you can put in special in the Knightly Order.
It's got to be Order of the Knights Panther, like actual only, though.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that the model has to be. It's a BSB belonging to the Order of the Knights Panther. So you'd put it on the character that is Knights Panther, and then because you can take a unit of Empire State Troops in special, you can put it in there.
But it would have to be a Chapter Master BSB, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But then it would have to be the Army of Infamy Knights Panther.
Yeah. But you can still put it in a melee unit, because you put it on the BSB, who's on a horse, and then you put the BSB on a horse in a melee unit.
Oh, okay. In the special,
it gives a +1 save. Yeah. Like I'm not sold on it, but this is how it works.
I like your thought process. Yeah. It's still my least favorite item in the whole book. I see where you
Death Star of Empire Archers in Core. You can take them in open order, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They've got Volley Fire as well. Yeah.
Sure. You can't give them poison, which means that it's not a good unbreakable brick, but it's truly there if you want to do it. I think there's someone's going to play around with that, and maybe the math on that just ends up being silly and works for some reason.
Because
they have warbows, right?
Yes, warbows 24. I just...
You know what warbows have? Warbows have strength user, which means if you cast Demonic Vessel, you give them +1 strength and +1 AP. So you've got strength 4 AP1 bows.
You're staring into the abyss there.
I am. I truly am.
It's going to start looking back at you.
They can be unbreakable. Oh, wait, hold on. You can't have any casters because you're a Knights Panther. Never mind.
It's a rough item. Rough item for me.
I think that's fair. You could just go 1,000,000 archers, give them Knights Panther, also give them damage 2 from the wolf. The Wolf Priest of Ulrich. That's something that you could do. We're going to move on. We're going into the depths of silliness here. Fair. So, I don't hate that banner. I hate where it is, because you can only put it on the Knights Panther models, and I don't want it on cavalry. I want it on cheap or tanky infantry.
Yeah.
Tapestry of Sigmar's Triumph. This is so good. Yeah. 40 points. A unit carrying this may reroll any rolls of a 1 to wound during the first round of combat. Oh, so good. I told you, if you can get rerolls, take rerolls.
This is cooked, so man.
Good.
Imagine, so we've got a unit of Inner Circle Knights of the White Wolf.
Uh-huh.
We've charged in. We've charged in, so we've got 2 attacks. We've also, in a match where we have the range of speed advantage, we've cast Battle Frenzy. So now we've got 3 attacks.
Yeah.
Re-rolling 1s to hit.
No. Let's say that you've gone with Demonic Vessel, because you've already got reroll 1s to hit, so you don't need the Frenzy. So you got 3 attacks at Strength 7, AP 3. You're wounding most things in the game on 2s there.
And then we've got a Haggard Priest of Ulrich for damage 2 as well. But
there's no kill like overkill.
It's just like, let's go. I mean, it's starting to become a build where it's like, okay,
hold on.
Okay.
This might be the night boss that could kill God. Like, I've seen those Chaos Cavalry, like Chaos Knight bosses, but what if this was just more Goodera?
And we can just countercharge. So yeah, I mean, this is
we can countercharge.
This is the spice, man. This is what we wanted. Like, we've got a full send archetype now.
Yeah. You could tell me that the Arcane Journal was Arcane Journal, Inner Circle, Knights and Core, and I'd be like, I'm in. I'm in. And then there's other things as well.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This is just an auto include on your Inner Circle Knights. So
yeah. Then we've got the banner of the Free State of Nuln, which is too many words, but it's only 20 points and it gives you stubborn. Sure, it's Nuln only. Stubborn on a banner for 20 points. 30. Normally that costs you 50. Yeah.
I was going to say, save 30. Yeah, why not?
I don't hate this, honestly. You have to take a unit of the what are they called? Either the regular or the veteran
regiment. Or,
veteran
state troops.
Magic banner on the veterans. I feel like you can take a 25-point magic banner.
You can take a 50-point. Yeah. On
there we go.
State troops. Yeah. So
they don't have stubborn. So
no,
you can pay for it.
Does stubborn? It goes on to the detachments as well. Is that one of the rules that?
Oh God! Now you're asking. I assume not, but let's.
My gut says yes, but.
Well, one of us will be right.
I wouldn't bet on it, yeah.
Cross-reference links.
20 points, though.
I'm going to say no, and if I'm wrong, someone let me know in the comments. But I think it's not, unless it's on the detachment rules.
If it's not, it's like going into the Abyss again. It's not difficult to make a build where this is just nice on a unit of state troops.
Yeah.
If they're just going to roadblock or something like that, yeah, look, 20 points is just...
I'm sorry, you're right. Regimental psychology. If a regimental unit is within 3 inches of the detachment, it gives frenzy, hatred, immune to psychology, and stubborn.
Hell yeah! So amazing. I mean, is there? I'm sure we could find a build for this.
I think that's genuinely interesting because you have to take that the Nuln detachment. So yeah, like there's something there. I like that. It's a shame that it's locked to Nuln. But for 20 points, honestly, you'd probably just see it.
This might fight its way in, right? It might fight.
I like it.
Because we've got attacks of 1+ on the core. If we play an army, it might fight its way in. So.
Yeah. So this is something, going back to the stonks. Stonks are already good. And if the meta change, it goes all the way to the moon. Got a diamond hands, this banner. This is solid.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We should be thinking if there is a future where we need to capture stuff and infantry, this just becomes, awesome.
I thought you were just going to say if there is a future, and I was like, oh yeah, no, me too, buddy. Moving on, we've got some other magic items, the enchanted items, and Empire magic items are just like hit after hit after hit.
Cool.
Squintoffin's Marvelous Magnifier, extremely common, 35 points. You can only take it by models in a city state of Nuln. The bearer and the unit they have joined do not suffer the usual -1 to hit modifier when shooting at long range. You know where you're going to put that? In those goddamn Outriders.
Why is there an asterisk? Why is this extremely common? That's so insane.
I think maybe the Magnifier is not marvelous. I think it's maybe mass-produced. Yeah, that's the 2 M's. It's the mass-produced magnifier.
There's a fucking factory and no one produces.
But there's a stamp on it, and it only costs 35 points. I really like this. This is good. You put it with your Outriders, and you're like, so I don't have Ponderous, and I can just dance around at 24 inches. I'm always going to be hitting you on 5s when I'm moving. If I stand still, I hit you on 4s. Yeah, this is money.
So my first list, right. Let's so
150 Outriders.
We've got similar to what 2 units of 8 in core.
Yeah.
So they vanguard up.
Yeah.
The 2 generals of the Empire equipped with these. One's got the arquebus, one's got the
Oh, sure.
dragon bow,
Yeah.
and so they vanguard up to get into range of 24.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they have to leave the character, but then the character joins the unit.
Yeah.
And then they just fucking 8 outriders, the champion with a blunderbuss, the general with a fucking arquebus,
That's
just
very
unload. Funny. So no, like without the range penalty, and then obviously they can fall back and not be ponderous as well.
Yeah. Do you even take that on the? Because you said you put it on a general, right? Do you even bother with the generals? I guess you need it so you can take the magic weapon as well.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, you don't have to. That's just my first draft build.
Yeah.
Just so we can get up there.
You could just take engineers can take horses, right? Or am I talking out my backside with that? I might be talking out my backside.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because if you could put it on an engineer, let's have a look here. Empire engineer. It doesn't give me.
It was just because I wanted the weapons on it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have to double check. I get a feeling that engineers can't, but if they can, you just pay for one of the 10-point items, like a blunderbuss, and you go sticking in. And I'm just super happy about my life choices.
Yeah, absolutely fair. I mean, I'm probably going too expensive on it, but yeah, I just wanted to squeeze in those weapons as well. But yeah, it's just another multiplier for the Outriders, right? That's going to be a problem for a lot of armies to deal with. I think when I'm going to put the Nuln army on the table, I am going to do it.
So I think this is something that doesn't deal super well with dragons.
Oh yeah, nightmare.
Which is fine because maybe we see some rebalancing, but also you can play around dragons, and this is your main damage unit is a skirmish unit that shoots, and that is an army list that can play around dragons really well. And I don't want to make bold claims. We might be the 2 most experienced run away from dragon players. We live in the corner of the charge arc. That's where we like to be.
Jurassic Park in our meta, yeah. I mean,
oh yeah. So that's definitely our comfort zone. But yeah, no, great item, love it.
Yeah.
Just you're gonna take at least one if you're playing Nuln. You're probably taking 2 because it's real good, and you can take 2 units of Outriders.
Yeah.
Ring of Fortune. This thing is spicy. 20 points. Single use. Reroll any failed to wound during the combat phase.
Okay, sell me it because I didn't really see this one. Sell me it.
So I've got to credit someone on my Discord. Okay. I want to say, I can't remember who it was. I'm going to put it on screen. I'm going to put their name on screen because I saw it and I was like, holy shit, I'm on board. What if you took this on a general on Pegasus and you gave them the Ring of Fortune, the Paymaster's Coin, so you're rerolling hits and wounds, and the Dragon Slayer Sword. Yeah. Empire struggle to kill dragons. That model won't necessarily kill dragons, but it can threaten killing them. And what if instead of actually killing them, your opponent just went, oh, wait, you can reroll hits and wounds and you've got Monster Slayer. I just can't go near you. And you never have to roll the dice. Because if you roll the dice, it might go wrong. If you stand there and pretend you're going to roll the dice or threaten to roll the dice, you've won. Like, you've won that trade-off. 250 points for your character, 650 points for theirs. You're like, neither of these are playing the game. Yours is way more of a detriment.
You're living rent-free in their head, aren't you, before you've even deployed it, and it's just huge board control. I mean, that is a sick idea, but...
I really like it.
It's just, is it consistent enough? What if they just don't have a monster?
Well, so it becomes expensive, but I think you also give them like a brace of pistols, and then you just fly around and harry war machines, because you're probably going to have either war machines or monsters or something else. Like, there's going to be something you can do with them. It is very much like going, my list can't deal with dragons, and instead of capitalizing on my strengths, I want to plug my weaknesses, which is one of the 2 ways you can build lists. You could just double down and go more cannon.
Yeah, fair. But does it beat? I'll run that. I mean, that's a good idea. I'll do the math to see how consistent the kill is on the dragon. Yeah, that's the key thing. Does it outperform the battle chicken? That's the question. But,
because the battle chicken will never kill a dragon.
No, but it does.
So into a dragon, yes.
But in that archetype, the illusion mage like battles the dragon like Gandalf kind of fucking witch king vibes.
That's true.
So if you wanted to,
you could go spectral doppelganger, lore familiar, dragon slayer sword, and also pick your spells, and you've got like a multi-use Dragon Slayer that also does the illusion, which doesn't. I think you've got the 20 points for the Ring of Fortune as well. So you can either go for a Power Scroll or a Ring of Fortune, and it's whichever way you kind of want to lean on that.
Where are my Power Scrolls, man? Don't do this to me.
You're the only player in the world who runs Power Scrolls.
Power Scrolls are
they're very good. Don't get me wrong.
Cracked things in the game.
They are solid. Yeah, but
only,
yeah. That like
I like the idea though.
Only for very specific ways of playing. I think when you're running like everyone else is doing with just like 2 battle magic casters, you're like,
just normal Warhammer.
Yeah. To be fair, I have been running Power Scrolls in my Wood Elf list, but that's because I'm trying to cast Pillar of Fire with a level 2. So like I just need to get it off once, you know. But yeah, no, Ring of Fortune. I think that's super spicy, and
I didn't see that, but yeah, cool.
Yeah. So big shout out to user whose name was on screen before who came up with that, because I think that's a super cool idea. Ring of Tal, 20 points. And I love this. This is another bound spell. This is a 1 use, and it's 20 points. You may cast the Oakenshield spell, which is the 5-up ward, as a bound spell with power level 3. I think that's cool because you are going to be using that in a detachment where you can't bring wizards. So you're like, okay, I just need 1 turn of ward save. And so Oakenshield is... The unfortunate thing about it is it gives you can't march or charge, and it makes it so that you're defending a low linear obstacle. So your opponent loses the initiative bonus, and that means you can't counter charge.
No, Earthen Ramparts, right? Oakenshield.
Oh, yeah. I always get those mixed up in my head because
yeah,
Oakenshield feels like it should be the elementalism one.
Oakenshield's the sick
It's the battle magic one. Yeah, it's just a straight up ward. Great. Yeah, no notes. This is good. 20 points.
Absolute auto include in any Empire combat list for me.
Yeah, unless you're running a battle magic caster. You're not running a battle magic caster, though.
Hell no.
No, that's kind of the trade-off. When you've got those night buses, a lot of the time you're like, how do I get the ward save caster in? And it's only a 1 per game, but it is power level 3, so it's reasonably likely to go off. I think it's cool.
He's probably... The battle magic's probably like 3rd on my list for force multipliers, and the Oakenshield is insane, but I want to smash. I need to smash through whatever I'm getting through. That's the key thing.
I think it's second on my list for me personally. So you take either Demonology or Dark Magic, and then the second caster is Battle Magic, because it gives you Arcane Urgency.
Are you saying they're joint?
Yeah, sorry. So when I say it, I mean more as in like if you're taking like number. So if you're taking 1, you take one of those 2. If you take 2, that's where the Battle Magic caster comes in.
Yeah. Agreed. I just in my list I'm going Dark Magic, but I mean you kind of went on the Demonology side, and I don't hate that. I think it's fine.
I like Dark Magic more.
The Word of Pain to make the hammers even more dirty as well. But I suppose the vessel you get in the strength, so it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
the reason I like Battle Lust from Dark Magic more is that you can put it on a character that is going to be able to buff the Inner Circle Knights, but also buff the Dragon Ogres, depending on what you need. And Dragon Ogres with Battle Lust are one of the most disgusting things. I said Dragon Ogres. Demigryph Knights.
Yeah.
Because they're the same thing, just more gooder.
Yeah.
But especially if you've got the White Wolf ones, you're getting them up to 3 attacks with those hammers. Baby, we got a stew cooking. Like...
We've wanted a build with fucking Dark Magic for so long as well.
We have.
We had a chat about that.
I was trying to make it work with
my
Sorceress and Dragon.
Yeah. So this is it. I mean, it's happening. But yeah, Ring of Tal on the. I put it on the Preceptor, the Inner Circle, the Knights, just to flick it turn 1. Because we're playing against
a shooting matchup, it's turn 1, and in a matchup where you've got to deal with combat, you just use it on the turn you're going to get charged.
Because you're out of range, you're thinking you're out of range, so the banned spell's likely to get through. Then you're going to keep like 3 knights. It trades up. Yeah,
it's really good. So we've been talking about Dark Magic. Let's just skip over to the Tome of Midnight, because I think this thing is nuts. And the biggest problem that Empire have, in my opinion, before the Arcane Journal, is that you couldn't get a second caster with spells consistently. They didn't have a spell familiar. This is a spell familiar on Karak. So, Bearer of the Tome of Midnight casts at +1 when casting Demonology, Dark Magic, or Necromancy, and they also know 1 more spell. Yeah, as I was reading, I was like, wait, did I just imagine that? No. So they know 5 spells as a level 4, and they cast at +1. And that is 30 points. Oh no, they only get to cast, check's notes,
Yeah.
4 spells. There's
Yeah.
not 4 good spells in dark magic.
No.
Like, that's super fine.
Mm.
And you're also loner, but that's okay. You're just going to put it on a Pegasus and have it fly around and follow the things that you need to cast it on.
This is an item, yeah. This is an item. So
Truly one of
I
the
can tell
items.
you've gone down at 2 wizard lords, yeah. Is that your way?
I think I might be tempted to take this as the solo wizard. There is the
Okay.
1 in 6 game where you just go, I didn't get Battle Lust, and I'm super sad.
I've got 2 power scrolls and a lore familiar on mine.
I really like the +1 to cast. I think that's really solid. And I've been playing a lot of lists where I'm just running a spell familiar and rolling spells. And like sometimes you don't get that spell you need. And you're like, all right, got to adapt the battle plan on the fly.
Yeah.
And it makes it a lot harder. But just the additional power you get here from the +1 to cast, that reliability, I think is really solid.
Imagine if you roll a 5. Imagine if you don't roll back.
It happens. I think I put a battle report up when I was playing against Ramses.
Yeah,
what was I playing? Yeah, I was playing the Chaos Knights.
Heralds.
Yeah, the Herald's list. And I didn't roll Demonic Vessel or Vigor, the one that you told me the name of, and I forgot.
Yeah, Vessel, yeah.
And I needed it, but I didn't lose that game because I didn't roll that. I lost the game because I made the wrong decision in sort of my positioning. But I think I could have won it.
It's not an auto loss, but if you look at your win rate and percentage, it definitely clips it hard, though, doesn't it? But that's the trade-off, I guess. Powerful item.
And this is something that's much harder to quantify. How valuable is that +1 to cast?
Yeah.
Because if you're casting at +1, you're getting the spell off much more. And the way that the casting works is it's like a bell curve. So it's not just an item is like a flat percentage increase. Mm-hmm. It's when you're getting to that bell curve, you're like, oh, if this takes me over this hump, it makes it move 1 over. I'm significantly more likely to cast it. And I'm also less likely to get dispelled. And that's important because it's a melee buff. And I'm going to be near their wizards.
Shitloads of mini power scrolls, isn't it? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
can't. I don't.
You can take this in 2 power scrolls still.
Just fucking go around. It makes me lose sleep at night not taking a lore familiar, but
super reasonable.
It's because do you know what I mean? I don't hate it. I think it's probably like equal EV. I think
if I play 10 games with each, I prefer lore familiar. Right now, I'm sold on Total
you want the violence. I love it.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm just never going to roll badly ever again in my life, so it's fine.
You can stress test it then. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. We can test it against each other, and whoever wins.
That dice roll is going to be so long in the air, isn't it? But
other items: Twin-tailed wand, 40 points once per turn. The bearer gets to cast one of their spells a second time. If they miscast, however, they don't roll on the miscast. They just take D3 wounds, no armor or regen saves. But you can take a ward save, which is cool because normally, like when I read that, if you take damage from a miscast, I assume that you can't take. Oh no, because those are hits. But like normally, when you lose wounds, I just assume you can't take any saves. So saying that you take ward saves is cool.
Yeah.
So this is fun.
Yeah, this is wild.
It's a shame there's no like extremely common spell familiar, so I could go 5 spells in this. That would be amazing.
I was hoping for that in the book. Like, give us a spell familiar. They kind of did, right?
Yeah, but you can't combo it with the twin-tailed one.
So you the lore familiar, but I can see this being just absolutely like kind of filthy on a just put it on a battle. Is it battle magic?
Yeah. So the problem is there are only 2 spells in battle magic that you want to cast with it, and you don't have a signature spell that you can swap into.
No.
There's no like law of magic that you can go, I'm just going to pick this. You could go demonology, right? Because demonology has the summoning, which is 18-inch range, strength 4, AP 1.
Yeah,
like it's a solid magic missile, and you can just cast that twice.
I think battle magic in the army of Nuln. Then you've got Fireball, Curse of Arrow Attraction, Arcane Urgency.
Yeah.
And then
people are gonna say Pillar of Fire. That doesn't work because when you cast a vortex that you already have cast from that wizard, it immediately goes away. So you can't cast it twice.
Unless you fuck the roll up, I guess.
Yeah, it gives you like reliability. It's like a once per turn reroll, I guess, in that case, which is not worth rolling dry spells for. But
I did the math on a power scroll with the odds to miscast, and like you can power scroll with this as well. But
It's
you've just
only
got
like
like
a 7% chance to miscast, right, with Power Scroll.
7.5 just to blow up though. It's like no.
Just take a Pegasus and a ward, and then you're very unlikely to kill yourself until you miscast a second time.
I want to. Are you fitting this in? It's not in yet.
I
But
like the
it's
Tome
so
of Midnight, and I like lore familiar more. Like, the only way I see this working is you go a caster, you go demonology, so you've got that consistent magic missile. You give them Ruby Ring of Ruin as well, and then I guess you take Talisman of Protection and Pegasus, and you run around and you do triple magic missile.
Just try and mini turret.
Yeah, I'm not super jazzed by that. Like, you're so squishy.
It's so nice. Imagine if it was extremely common, you take the lower familiar as well, then it would be just absolutely filthy. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll see it. It's just a cool light. It's just capital
I like
letters
it,
font, right? Capital letters, but
yeah, this book has given us so many items or like rules that are just like, yeah, you can do that. That's a thing we've never seen before in this edition. I like it.
Just like building lists, so cool.
Big fan. And then we're going to wrap it up with the Crystal Ball. 20 points. Once per turn, you may make your opponent reroll a single hit or wound roll made against friendly character models within command range of the Crystal Ball. Is this going into your list so you can make your Nurgle general even harder to kill?
I mean, does this...
The problem is you can't take it with Lore Familiar or Tome of Midnight, so I don't think it makes it in.
Yeah, exactly. When I first read this, I was just sat there for like 5 minutes. How can I make this work? Like, it's got to work.
The only way this could work is if you take it on a level 1 caster. And because if you're in like Nuln, you can, or like one of the nightly orders, you can take level 2 wizards, but not level 4s. Yeah. So you're like, okay, I don't care about taking I just want to buff up my character for some reason. I don't think it makes
item, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
I mean, it's battling the Power Scroll, so good luck, mate.
Super cool. Oh. Okay, hear me out. You take a Wizarding Hat character. It becomes a level 1 caster. Okay. You then take the Crystal Ball.
And like glittering robe or something. You get to
I'm actually slightly more on board. You've made the silly idea slightly less silly.
I love your creativity in making these islands work.
It technically works, and that's enough.
I like it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, sweet. We've gone through the gamut there. We have had a good chat about all things Empire. So we've got to the end. How are you feeling about the Arcane Journal?
I love it.
I love it so much.
I don't understand the grumbles. I just see so much like capital letters fun. I see a glimpse of competitive. I see some Can we compete on table 5 in a GT? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So and 1,000 hours on Old World Builder. What else? What more could you ask for?
A lot of lists to write and a lot of games to play. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you can tell from watching it. We're both like so genuinely excited about this book.
Yeah.
This is ignoring power level of Empire. This is, I think, the most genuinely fun Arcane Journal we have seen from the start. Like everything in here, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go. I want to try that. Even the characters, I was like, both characters. Okay, sure. I can see a world that we, crowbar this in. Let's do it.
Feels like like your old favorite computer game where it got like an expansion pack, and it's like,
it's a real love letter.
What are all these like new activities we can do? Yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
Fantastic. Oh, yeah. Well, so that is us. I think we've gone over 2 hours, but we had a lot to talk about. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this one up, Jack?
I mean, that was really fun, mate. Enjoyed it. Yeah, legend. But yeah, no, we're going to both be getting stuck into Empire. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
See how it goes for Sigma.
All right. Thanks for coming on. I'm it. Bye. Thank you for watching, and thank you to the support that I receive from my channel members. Huge thanks to the Grail Knight tier supporters, and also thanks to the Longbeards and the Fanatic tier supporters as well. If you want to support the channel, you too can become a member. The link is down below the video. But if you don't want to give me any money, which is entirely fair enough, I would appreciate the thumbs up, the comments, all of those good things that help me get found in the YouTube algorithm. They really help, and they've been helping grow the channel, and I appreciate the support that I've been given. If you want to see more stuff, and just engage in the community we've been building. There is a closer order Discord down below. It's not a VIP Discord, anyone can join, but there are some VIP sections for the YouTube members at Longbeard tier and above. Currently, I'm trying to get 2 videos out a week on a Thursday and a Sunday, and also doing 2 live streams. That's a Tuesday and a Friday. I do stick to this as much as possible. So, check me out. I'll see you around.